Hello, everybody. Welcome into the show. Aren't you having a great day today? Because we already are having a great day. Amy Marks Kors and Chris Ranji. Our phone lines open, baby. 314-436-7900. Of course, we have a terrific app where you can listen to the show live. Cardinals baseball, you can catch live on it. And you can listen to the podcast when the show is over. It's called Audacy, Audacy. And we're on social media. Follow us on the Twitter at ChrisAmyKMOX.
Time now for the top of the order. The top three stories everybody will be talking about.
Well, Kamala Harris has officially made a decision. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is going to be her running mate in the 2024 campaign.
And what a surprise. There's a heat advisory from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. today because it's 7,000 degrees outside.
Disgusting.
And it feels like 10,000. Actually, the heat index is 107 degrees today.
Already?
It will be.
God bless America. And the Cardinals dropped that one-game makeup to the Mets yesterday at Busch Stadium by a final of 6-0. And I don't want to call it a pivotal game, but it was a game they would have liked to have had. Certainly plenty of time left in the season, but that's a tough one because they're chasing the Mets in the wild card race. And they were a game and a half behind when the day started, and then they lose that game. So that kind of sucks.
The only thing standing between the Cardinals and the Brewers is a bunch of lefty pitchers.
Why would you do that?
Come on.
They know. You know what though?
They know.
They know.
They know. It's not any breaking news. They can do this. I believe in them.
I do too.
But you got to hit lefties.
You got to hit lefties. And it's got to be more than Tommy Pham, which is why they acquired him to help in that regard. But it's right now not working out, which, again, it stinks. They do have a series that starts tonight, however, against the Tampa Bay Rays. Sonny Gray is going to start for the Cardinals, 5:50 pregame, 6:45 first pitch. So on the show today, Linda Kenyon is going to join us at the bottom of the hour from CBS. We will talk about the pick. Brandon Jones, who is with Laclede's Landing. They're trying to rejuvenate the Landing, which used to be a really fun place to go to, and they're trying to make it good again. And Cardinals, of course. We'll talk to Lynn Worthy, who covers them for the Post. So we have a running mate.
We have a running mate, and I just want to acknowledge again, go vote. It is Missouri primary election day.
That is correct.
I'm so excited to vote. Even in the primaries, I feel so dang patriotic. I literally march like as if there's a brass band behind me.
Come on.
And I'm like, it's a grand old flag.
Yeah, I know you love that.
It's a high flying flag. And I just march down the street to go vote. It is one of my favorite things, even though once I get there and I look at the ballot, I don't like anyone on the ballot.
Are you?
It makes me sad. But I like the idea of voting. Well, I mean, I like some of the people, actually. I really do.
Okay.
I really love Lieutenant Governor Mike Kehoe. I like Wesley Bell. Obviously, those are two different ballots. But I like both of those people. So there are some people I'm excited to vote for. But there are some races that aren't as exciting.
Yeah, of course not. So, I mean, that's the thing about the primary is that we tell everybody if you have a complaint about what your ultimate choices are, because we heard that when it was Biden and Trump, when that was going to be the race, and everybody said, are these really the two best options we have? And the argument that I have made and we have made is if you don't like what the ultimate options are, then you have to vote in primaries because a primary is how we get to those final two options. And it ends up being that a very small percentage of people end up getting to choose who the finalists are because nobody participates in the primary process. So this is your opportunity to participate in that process.
And if you have a thought, if you voted already, if you're going to go vote, if you have something you want to say, 314-436-7900. We would love to hear from you. You can call or text. We are the radio version of a sticker that says I voted.
Oh, God. I see what you're saying.
We are even better than that. But back to the national election, because I know maybe you're on your way to the polls. Maybe you're on your way to your local elementary school.
Or your local watering hole. Who knows what your day's like?
Who knows what your day is like? But I can't tell if when I heard the breaking news, I think it was CNN broke the news first. I heard it on Totally Information AM. So I heard the news. Now I know via radio. I knew on radio that Kamala Harris had picked Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota. And I can't tell if my first reaction was like, oh my gosh, I thought for sure it was Josh Shapiro, or if my reaction was, I knew it. I knew it was not going to be Shapiro, because I felt both simultaneously. And I will say, you can't always trust the tweeter. But I did see last night random political pundits. I don't even know if some of these guys were reporters. I'm not really sure. But, there's so many accounts. One video was of Josh Shapiro playing basketball. And another guy said, well, I just saw 8 giant black SUVs leaving the home of Tim Walz. And I think that got stuck in my head. And of course, I'm not going to retweet it or say anything, because you have to make sure news is confirmed and all of that.
Right.
But I did all of a sudden have a feeling, ooh, that doesn't seem good. If you're looking for Shapiro, it seemed good for Walz.
So I don't, I'm only mildly surprised by it. I too thought it was going to be Shapiro, but I didn't have a strong feeling that it was going to be him. I felt like the three of them were pretty close, and it was probably in order in my head was Shapiro, Kelly, and Walz. There's a reason that she picked the three of them as finalists. They're all governors. I think she believes that they all kind of appeal to a wider base, but I think their camp must really believe that he appeals to the widest base, even though he's
widest.
Widest.
Yes.
And wait, what did I say?
I know you said widest.
No,
okay.
Not white. Wide with a D.
Yeah.
Widest base of people, because he's got a sort of a blue collar rural background. He won a district that was a Trump district, so clearly some independents in Minnesota like him, and that was a state that has gone red before. It went to Trump in 2016.
It did, but it is not really considered a swing state this time. And it's a long shot for Trump to say he thinks he can win Minnesota.
Right, but I don't think it's about the state so much. I think we had this text thread this morning with Hancock and Kelly, and Michael said, I think they think that Pennsylvania they're more confident in Pennsylvania than the rest of us believe.
Right. Well, they would have to be. I mean, they would absolutely have to be, because, Pennsylvania truly is a swing state in the way that Minnesota is not. And as every political expert pundit has said, the path to the White House goes through Pennsylvania, full stop. You have to win Pennsylvania. And I will say this about Governor Tim Walz. I do think one of the primary attacks Republicans will use, I mean, I hate to say attack. Republicans are going to use an angle to attack Democrats. The Democrats are going to use an angle to attack Republicans. That's just what you do. But one of the biggest flaws or weaknesses of Governor Tim Walz is that he was the governor who was presiding over the state during the 2020 George Floyd riots, which...
It was mostly protests. There were some riots.
No, there were tons of riots, because even Tim Walz said, quote, his response was an abject failure, because for days there was tons of arson and fires and looting. They had to abandon the 3rd District precinct because of all of the direct violence against police, and there were guns. The mayor of Minneapolis asked Governor Walz to call in the National Guard, and Walz delayed. And again, afterwards, he said it was an abject failure, because millions and millions of dollars of restaurants and stores and towns were burned down. And I do think that is going to be the focus.
And I don't think it's going to be effective, because I don't think you can be on that side and argue that riots are bad.
But I think you can, because
I don't think it's going to work with independents.
Because I would argue this. Of course, I know everyone's talking about like January 6th.
Right,
but the thing is, not everybody who was angry at the George Floyd riots was in favor of the January 6th riots. I am one of them. You can have protests, but the damage that was done in Minnesota, and then that did spread across the country to the detriment of those who were actually protesting, and to the shame of those who were defending the rioters. That did a ton of damage to our country. I do think, Harris, this has been brought up before, that she did set up a fund to bail out those who did damage, who rioted in those cities in Minnesota. I think that's going to be a a huge issue for Tim Walz. Will it ultimately determine the election? I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. We know it's close, right? We know it's close. That's what we know. And that's why something like this, if you point to one thing in 2020 that was just awful, yes, we've got COVID, but the riots, and there were those who even now have their tail between their legs for defending the rioters.
But I don't think it's going to matter. They're going to use it, and I don't think it's going to work because of what I said. I don't think that you can just say, well, forget January 6th, because no, I mean, you cannot be on that side and argue riots are bad, but then not have any problem with January 6th. And the reality is it is going to be a choice between people who are on that side and people who are on this side. That's what the election's going to come down to. So if you're an independent, rioting is going to have to be out of your mind when you make a vote.
Well, see,
when you cast your vote, I don't think people are going to think of that.
I think I'm confused because they're not trying to win over anyone who defended January 6th.
Right.
There are a ton of Americans
what I'm saying is
who hated January 6th and the riots.
So what I'm saying is if you're an independent, which side are you going to vote for? Each side has rioting under their umbrella, right?
I mean, yes.
If that's what you're going by, and I just don't think people are. Maybe some, but I don't think it's enough to swing an election.
I think they're going to look at the scale and they're going to look at the reasons behind it, and they're going to see the January 6th Trump rioters as being a very, very specific and fringier group than having widespread acceptance of rioting.
Well, I don't think anybody accepted rioting.
Well,
I wouldn't say that it's accepted.
Think there were. I mean, I read a lot of defenses of it at the time from legacy outlets.
I mean, you could be right. I just do not agree with you that maybe some people will look at it that way and vote. But if you're going to vote for the riots, or which side rioted the least bad, enjoy. Good luck. Hey, we've got more coming up. We want to hear from you. 314-436-7900. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
A weak White House, an invasion of illegals, and the woke mob attacking our values. That's what Phil Cristofanelli is fighting for Missouri's future. He supported sending the National Guard to secure the southern border. He defunded sanctuary cities. And Phil Cristofanelli backs the blue to keep our neighborhoods safe from gangs, fentanyl, and human traffickers. He's been named one of Missouri's most conservative legislators year after year. Cristofanelli stands up to the radical left and weak-kneed Republicans. Pro-life, he helped pass one of the nation's strongest anti-abortion laws and defunded Planned Parenthood. Pro-Second Amendment, he stood up for our gun owners and constitutional rights. And Cristofanelli is keeping men out of girls' sports and locker rooms. Phil Cristofanelli, an unwavering conservative for State Senate.
Paid for by friends of Phil Cristofanelli, Dan Raker's treasurer.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Mom, meet Sarah.
From first-time Nana moments.
Yeah, welcome to Flight 101.
To annual girls trip moments. Your can't-miss moments are worth protecting against RSV. If you're 75 or older or 60 plus with a chronic condition like asthma, COPD, heart disease, or severe diabetes, you're at higher risk of landing in the hospital from RSV. And there are no prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at vaxassist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A-plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some TV pitchman that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, DRURY Law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney. You need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 Gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 Gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-3077. Call now and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-973-3077 now to secure your 1904p $20 Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-3077.
I'm Scott Jagow. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Well, Chris Ranji, you know the City Justice Center, a.k.a. the downtown jail?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah, I figured you would. Conjugal visits?
No, what the? You almost made me say a bad word. No, dummy. Conjugal visits. I almost said, what the?
Well, anyway, it's pretty easy to have conjugal visits at the City Justice Center. Because remember how in the past I've said, like, for maybe like 2 or 3 years, the locks haven't been working. So every now and then, you know, the inmates would be able to escape their cells and they would riot and throw things out the window and burn sheets and all of that. Well, guess what happened on Sunday? The locks weren't working again. So early Sunday morning, 40 inmates escaped from their cells because the locks, quote, malfunctioned. And it took the guards about 2.5 hours to get everybody back in their cells, which to me does seem like a very tough task. Like, you know, the phrase herding cats?
Yes.
How you're like,
yes, I've heard.
Yes. Well, I do feel like if you had 40 inmates running around because here's the thing. If you put them back in their cells, but the locks don't work, how do you keep them in their cells?
Well, I don't know, but it reminds me of, you ever seen...
I mean, it's not funny because I'm sure people are getting hurt, but it's so insane.
I don't know how it's not fixed.
So how is it not fixed?
You ever seen the movie My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin?
Oh my gosh, I have heard of that, but that's like a super old movie, right?
Yeah, so he's a mobster.
Yeah.
And he goes into witness protection. They put him in a rural town, but he gets arrested for something, and he's such a smooth talker that everybody in the town loves him. And one of his friends comes to visit him in jail.
Mm-hmm.
He's in jail, and he just slides the door open and walks out because they let him have in and out privileges. I feel like maybe that's the Justice Center downtown. If 40 people got out, does that mean they have in and out privileges? You can't even get out of a parking garage.
Honestly, I bet with that malfunctioning machine, it is harder to get out of Ballpark Village than it is the City Justice Center. I've gotten stuck in the Ballpark Village parking lot so many times.
You're not wrong.
So many times. Now, remember, this this chaos of the 40 escaped inmates took place just 2 weeks after 4 inmates were injured in a stabbing. And so basically, the City Justice Center needs to get its act together. I don't know what in the world is going on, but they have not fixed it, so we'll keep an eye on that. Also, something to keep an eye on, if you have heard about the insane scandal that is wreaking havoc on St. Louis City Public Schools, where the superintendent took over a year ago, and she took the schools from a, what was it, $14 million surplus to a $35 million deficit. She hired multiple people from the Seattle area school districts, plus their spouses, which is very odd. And it has prompted Mayor Tashara Jones to ask Missouri State Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick to look into the incompetence and the chaos that is inside the St. Louis Public Schools. By the way, school starts on August 19th. They still do not have all of their bus routes covered. Because remember, months ago, they asked teachers, learn how to drive a bus, pick up your students, bring them home. $17 million surplus. That's what it was. A $17 million surplus to a $35 million deficit in 1 year.
Are we, and we're going to reach out to Fitzpatrick too, we want to get him on the show. So hopefully that's going to happen later in the week. But this is I don't know how you do that.
No.
That is an incredible amount of money to lose.
And again, Dr. Keisha Scarlett.
And the students suffer for that.
They do. Dr. Keisha Scarlett was placed on temporary leave from the St. Louis Public School District. But if you look at the list, and KSDK has done great reporting, the St. Louis Post-Dispatch has done great reporting, the list of people that she hired included, she came from the Seattle School District area. She hired so many people from that area and their spouses in what is so flagrantly looks like an abuse of her power. And the people suffering the most are the kids.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Again, Kamala Harris has decided on her running mate. To tell us how it all went down and what is known at this moment, Linda Kenyon, CBS reporter in Washington, D.C., will join us when we come back. Amy Marks Kors, Chris Ranji on KMOX.
What if I told you your home movies are already past their prime? It's true. The magnetic tape used in VHS and camcorder tapes only lasts between 10 to 20 years, which means your baby's first steps, weddings, and family vacations are fading away as we speak. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box stops this fading process in its tracks. And by preserving your recordings, they're safe forever. Legacy Box is simply the best way to preserve your past, which is why they've been trusted by over 1 million families. Your memories are meant to be shared, not chewed up by the VCR or worn away with time. For a limited time, you can convert your tapes to digital for just $9 a tape. There's never been a better time to convert your entire collection. That includes film reels and photos too. Visit legacybox.com/value to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/value to unlock our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/value.
Stages St. Louis presents Disney's Newsies. The smash hit musical Newsies takes you to New York City, where a band of newsboys become unlikely heroes, standing up to the titans of the publishing industry. Disney's Newsies at Stages St. Louis, an uplifting story packed with thrills, incredible dancing and singing, and a timeless message for the whole family. Tickets are available at stagesstlewis.org. It's Disney's Newsies on stage now. Stagesstlewis.org.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams.
Oh, yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
At 10:30, we have sunny skies, 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says it's the honor of a lifetime to be Kamala Harris's running mate. Harris announced Walz as her vice presidential pick earlier Tuesday and said he's delivered for working families. The two will appear together in Philadelphia at an evening rally. The Midwestern governor, military veteran, and union supporter has helped enact an ambitious Democratic agenda for his state, including sweeping protections for abortion rights and aid to families. Tropical storm Debbie has moved into some of America's most historic southern cities, bringing torrential downpours and flooding after slamming into Florida with heavy rain and high winds. Record-setting rain from the storm that killed at least 5 people was causing flash flooding in Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston. Let's get a check now of the Redbird Report. Here's Matt Pauley.
A tough day for the Cardinals. They lose to the Mets 6-0 yesterday. Andre Palante makes the start, goes 4 2/3 innings, allowing 5 runs on 5 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. The Cardinals go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position and leave 7 on base. That was just a one-game makeup against the Mets, and now the Cardinals are back at this evening as they open up a series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Sonny Gray will make the start tonight, 6:45 first pitch. Our coverage begins at 5:50. With the Redbird Report, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
We're under a heat advisory until 6 o'clock tonight. Mostly sunny, hot, and humid today with a high of 95. The real field temperatures over 100 this afternoon. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 68. Right now, sunny skies, 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Sponsored by Express Employment Professionals.
If your supply chain demands a flexible workforce, hire with Express Employment Professionals. With contract and full-time workers from Express Employment, you get the staff you need and manage contingent labor costs. Learn more at expresspros.com. That's expresspros.com.
I'm sitting here checking the weather coming up this week. Looks like high 60s as low and 80 to mid 80s as a high. So if you are putting your air conditioner in because of the heat and you didn't want your house to get so warm while the process is going on, this will be the best time to have that done and have your air conditioner put in and get ready for the heat wave that we get here in St. Louis. Or if you haven't had your air conditioning checked or you noticed that it wasn't cooling as good as you expected or you wanted or you need it, call me. It's Bart Inman, one easy number, Illinois and Missouri. The easiest number, 314-293-2600. It's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or the internet, bartinman.com. That's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. God bless.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Are you ready to shape the future? Missouri is crafting its master plan on aging, and we want to hear from you. Visit health.mo.gov/aging to share your thoughts, ideas, and concerns. We can create a vibrant, inclusive future for all generations.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Erst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game at $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contest and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
I'm Brad Young. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
And I think what Kamala Harris knows is bringing people together around the shared values, strong public schools, strong labor unions that create the middle class, healthcare that's affordable and accessible.
Governor Tim Walz on MSNBC, and he is the new running mate for Kamala Harris, who is running for president on the Democratic ticket. The convention is yet to happen, but it should be a lively one. By the way, Josh Shapiro, who was one of the finalists, has tweeted this morning He's the governor of Pennsylvania, and he says, over the next 90 days, I look forward to traveling all across the Commonwealth to unite Pennsylvanians behind my friends Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and defeat Donald Trump. See you in Philly tonight. And to talk about the new development this morning, Linda Kenyon, CBS reporter in Washington, D.C. She's with CBS News on the Quiver River Electric guest line. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. Good morning.
It has been a very busy time in politics and a busy day today. So this news about Tim Walz this morning, is this surprising to you, or did you kind of feel like it was going this direction?
Well, it was narrowed down to 3, and Tim Walz was one of them. However, there was more of a thought that it was going to be the Pennsylvania governor, Josh Shapiro, if for no other reason than the fact that Kamala Harris has a campaign event in Pennsylvania this afternoon. And so it seemed to be the perfect setup to announce the governor of Pennsylvania as the running mate. But that is not the case. It is the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, who has a very impressive background. He's as a Midwestern governor. He's also a military veteran. He's a union supporter. He's a former social studies teacher. He's a former high school football coach and a union member. And he has, before all of this, somewhere in the middle of all this, he served 6 terms in Congress, 24 years in the Army National Guard, where he rose to command as a sergeant major, which is one of the highest enlisted ranks in the military. He is known as Minnesota Midwestern Nice. He has a lot of support after his announcement a while back about free school breakfasts and lunches for children. There's now going to be this iconic photo, I'm sure you will all see, of him surrounded by children as he signed that bill into law in the state of Minnesota, and how they were all just hugging him and adoring the fact that he had signed that bill. So he does put up a very good figure, and he is already a surrogate for the Harris campaign. So now he's also on the ticket.
One thing that does strike, I think, a lot of people, aside from the fact that this decision to pick Tim Walz will be made in Josh Shapiro's state of Pennsylvania, is that Minnesota is not necessarily a swing state, and especially not to the magnitude that Philadelphia is. Do you see any surprise or significance in her selecting Minnesota over a state that she really does need to win in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, well, it's a little bit of a mixed bag in that respect, because there were some concerns that Josh Shapiro might be a little bit too progressive for the members of the more moderate Democratic Party, or for those who have not decided yet who they would be supporting for president. And, and on top of that, one of the things that the Minnesota governor has in his favor is he doesn't just bring Minnesota, but he brings quite possibly, at least the thought process being that he brings the Midwest. And so there are battleground states in the Midwest. Minnesota, sort of a battleground state, but not to the same extent as some of the others. But nonetheless, he does represent the heartland of America, and that is important for winning this election.
Linda Kenyon, CBS News reporter, is with us now on KMOX. So this decision happens today. He is going to be introduced in Pennsylvania. Josh Shapiro, as I read that tweet from the governor of Pennsylvania, is going to be there. The feeling I have gotten is that all of these finalists, all of these candidates, of course they want the job, right? My impression is they would all be fine with any of them getting the nod. Is there any indication that, Governor Kelly from Arizona is upset about this, or Governor Shapiro is upset about not being chosen, but is putting on a good public face? Is there any word on that?
I have not seen or heard anything to that extent. Governor Josh Shapiro says he fully supports the choice and will work very hard for the Harris-Walz ticket to win in November. Senator Mark Kelly has also praised the choice, so there doesn't seem to be any hard feelings, if you will. And this is an effort for the Democratic Party to come together. They seem to have coalesced very quickly around Vice President Harris as the nominee. And so they are further coalescing around her choice now as vice presidential nominee.
What do you think the role of the specter of the George Floyd riots, Minneapolis burning, a lot of damage done, millions of dollars of damage done in 2020, and the fact that Tim Walz was governor at that time? He was overseeing that. Do you think that will haunt him at all?
Yeah, it's already come up, and Democrats are saying that he's prepared for that. As you know, there were violent riots in Minnesota after the death of George Floyd by the Minneapolis police officer. That was in 2020, and that included the torching of a police station. And the Republicans are saying that Walz should have done something about it sooner. Actually, it was Walz who gave the order in response to that for the National Guard to come in, and there were requests from both the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul. So Walz did move in to stop the violent outbreaks. But again, this is going to be a talking point for Republicans who are going to say that he did too little, too late. And the reaction to the George Floyd killing was unlike this nation has ever seen before, and it was kind of a sea change in public reaction to killings by police officers and another racial situation. And so, one can imagine that it was a little bit hard to figure out what the best course of action was, or if you're critical of it, then you will know that you will say that Walz should have done something sooner.
Is there anything else beyond that, beyond the summer of 2020, that could be a thing Republicans go after?
I imagine they're going to go after all kinds of things because this is how politics is played at this point. I mean, we already have some response from some top Republicans about the choice. We have House Speaker Mike Johnson saying that Harris has chosen a progressive running mate who has voiced support for socialism. We have Republican Majority Whip Tom Emmer, who is, by the way, a fellow Minnesotan with Governor Walz, and he says that Walz has worked to turn Minnesota into Harris's home state of California. So we can already see that the talking points are going to be that Walz is too liberal, and that he already adds to a too liberal ticket, which is exactly what Republicans are not going to want if they're supporting Donald Trump. And so, we can already see how this is going to be sketched out. I imagine that these talking points were, quite frankly, sketched out long before Walz was named. One of the other things that Tom Emmer says about Walz is that he's an empty suit. And he adds, or rather solidifies, a radical America last agenda. Those are his words that he posted on social media. So we know that that's really going to be a very big focus. And, stay tuned. Now we're coming down the home stretch of the presidential campaign. We've got the Democrats gathering in Chicago starting on August 19th. They will officially nominate Harris and Walz as the ticket for the Democratic presidential race, and away we go.
Yeah, and final quick note, as people have picked up on the different criticisms of Kamala Harris and criticisms of J.D. Vance, it was really Governor Tim Walz who first used the term weird when he was talking about Republicans and J.D. Vance. Not that no one has ever said weird before, but just that current iteration of it becoming a meme kind of came out of Tim Walz, and that's been a heavy focus for the Democrats.
It really has. In fact, I would say probably 2 weeks ago, nobody knew who Tim Walz was, maybe unless you were in Minnesota. But he has been a Harris campaign surrogate. He was a Biden campaign surrogate. And he is the first one who basically crystallized the whole thing with all of the interesting talking points from both J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, and basically used the term weird. He said, they're just weird. And nobody's ever really come out and said that before, but it does seem to have taken flight.
That is Linda Kenyon, CBS reporter in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much. We appreciate your time this morning, Linda.
Thank you.
That was Linda Kenyon. But on the, the use of weird, it's funny how it is a simple, almost overused word, but to have, a governor, when people are slinging insults and personal attacks and policy attacks and calling, what do we always say, right? That we have catastrophized our politics to the point that we say this person is a fascist, this person is a Nazi, this person will end democracy. And Tim Walz came out and said, honestly, they're just weird, which I'm not saying I agree with all of the implication there. People may say, Republicans or people with traditional values are weird. I would agree that J.D. Vance and his comments and the crazy cat lady, that stuff is weird. It's an odd choice.
Yeah, I think it can be an effective messaging tool, but I wouldn't dwell on it. Let weird have its day or its week or a couple of weeks and then move on to something else. I wouldn't make that the campaign for the next 2+ months.
And I don't know how long they will make the campaign, because goodness knows the Democrats have super weird people on their side too. But it's just kind of funny that it was such a simple phrase to throw out there and how it caught fire.
You know what though? You're right. There are some absolute weirdos on the Democratic side. I think the party is better at shouting them down.
Well, I will say this. One example would be, we've talked about Cori Bush being very, very fringe. She's part of the squad. She's one of the most ineffective legislators. She voted against Joe Biden.
And she may very well lose today.
Well, that's my point, is that she's being challenged by Wesley Bell, which is in ways the Democratic Party governing itself and reining in its fringier members in the same way that Nancy Pelosi several years ago scolded AOC and the squad for being so extreme in their views. And so, yes, I do think in general, the Democratic Party does a better job at reining in high-ranking fringier members.
By the way, the AFL-CIO released a statement saying they, quote, strongly support Tim Walz for vice president. So that's one union in. There are multiple unions, SEIU, for example, AFS-CME. They are all on board. I imagine that was one of the, I think, concerns about Mark Kelly, not quite as pro-union. This person is. So that could help with that. In fact, we'll talk to Michael Kelly about that on Friday when he's in, right? Amy Markscore's Chris Ranji. Did you see this? Next.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Smokey the Bear. After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Paid for by Lori Rook from Missouri. Ryan Rook, Treasurer.
Tuesday, you have a choice between the Jefferson City Swamp or me, Lori Rook. If we don't act now, they will continue keeping us in the dark about Missouri's finances. So when you see Lori Rook in that list of names, remember that I'm the one who isn't bought and paid for. And I'm the one who will pull back the curtain on Jeff City and tell it like it is. Vote Lori Rook for Missouri State Treasurer because you deserve to know.
We're joined once again by Dr. Colleen Bosler of the Audiology Center. Doctor, let's address the elephant in the room. Over-the-counter hearing aids.
Charlie, it's no secret that a cheap amplified listening device has been on the market for years. But what makes these devices different in recent news is that they now can market them as hearing aids. So there is a newfound interest. But it's important to understand that these devices do not have a prescription for the patient's specific loss, which can be dangerous and ineffective. And at the Audiology Center, I love to help people, educate them, get them to know the major differences, and I want to guide them towards what's best for their individual needs.
Well, thank you, Doctor. Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. Make an appointment today at 636-441-7470 or simply online at audiologycenterstl.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
I'm Michael Calhoun. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Are you freaking kidding me? No way!
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy?
Amy, did you see at the Olympics, they've got surfing in the Olympics now?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
You know about this?
Yeah.
The whale?
Yes.
Okay. So the Olympic finals, the surfing finals are happening in Tahiti. It
French
happened
Polynesia.
Yeah. And Brazil and Costa Rica, there were two contestants from those countries. And in the background, while they were getting ready to hit another wave, a giant humpback whale breached out of the water, and everybody saw it, just totally photobombed the entire thing. And there was video and photos of it. That is awesome. Can you imagine being in that situation?
It's an incredible video. I mean, it's funny. The Olympic Games are going on, and there is all the scandal, and there are all the stories coming out of Paris, whether it's the poopy Seine River making triathletes vomit, or the lack of air conditioning, or the vegan food in the Olympic Village. But Tahiti is holding its own because not only is there a whale by the surfers, and not only did they have what was perhaps the picture of the Olympics, the surfer who went over a huge wave after he completed this massive wave. And he jumps off his surfboard and he's holding up the number 1, his finger, and the surfboard's flying through the air and he's flying through the air. It's just a stunning photo. Well, also Tahiti had it in for SNL host and surfing correspondent Colin Jost.
Yeah.
Because Colin Jost had to be sent home from Tahiti. Now, Colin Jost stepped on some coral reef and he cut open his foot, and he was doing an interview with another station, and he was talking about how he had to keep moving because ants were crawling into his open wounds on his feet. So he had to take antibiotics for that. But then he also got an ear infection and was on antibiotics for that. And he was joking around at just how horrible he was feeling. And the woman he was talking to said, "Wow, only you can make paradise tragic and difficult," which is kind of funny until the wounds on his feet turned into a severe staph infection.
Oh, wait, did this happen?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that happened.
Yes, and they had to send him home yesterday because they didn't say why they sent him home.
You feel like you would put your feet in salt water. Wouldn't that take care of it?
I mean, he said he's on multiple antibiotics.
Wow.
He said he was hoping to...
That's not good.
Yeah.
You'd lose your toes.
How many
Gross.
medicines he could be on, but how awful is that?
Hey, did you see this story about a woman in Florida? She and her husband, well, it was her husband's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
He had just turned 34, and she decided to take him to Taco Bell and McDonald's for his birthday, Dr. Esha Prasad. And they got into an argument after midnight, and it ended up with her throwing a soft shell taco at his face, and the police were called.
I mean, if it was a hard shell taco, I get why you'd call the police.
Yes.
But a soft shell taco.
This is the best part. She was arrested, and the police in the report wrote that she, quote, threw a burrito at the victim after he threw a bag at her. She was arrested for domestic battery, which is a misdemeanor. I feel like, how can you get in an argument over Taco Bell?
Well, I can see that.
It's a huge win.
What if you said, remember the whole Mexican pizza? Should it be there? It's not there. They brought it back.
Awesome.
That's worth arguing about.
Awesome. They brought it back and the people won. When we come back, Brandon Jones is the new executive director of Laclede's Landing, which is in the process of rejuvenation. And we are looking forward to it becoming a thing again. And maybe it already is. Brandon Jones with us next on KMOX.
Hi, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about the 213 Flashpoint Complex, which is available at one of my favorite places, Supplement Superstores. Now, this is a metabolism drink. You have one in the morning, one in the evening. It helps you optimize fat loss around the clock. Yeah, even while you're sleeping. So it'll fight and eliminate cravings. It gives you all-day focused energy with no crash. At night, it lowers cortisol levels. That'll aid in recovery and helps you get that restful night's sleep as well. 213 Flashpoint is available at Supplement Superstores. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Here's a message for Quiver River Electric Cooperative members. Voting is now open for your annual Board of Directors election. Members may vote online or by paper ballot now through noon on August 19th. Or you may vote in person at the co-op's annual meeting on August 22nd. If you vote, you are automatically entered into a drawing for free electricity prizes. Learn more about the voting process and the co-op's annual meeting at quiver.com. or call 800-392-3709.
We're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-790-1400. 800-790-1400.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A weak White House,
an invasion of illegals, and the woke mob attacking our values. That's what Phil Cristofanelli is fighting for Missouri's future. He supported sending the National Guard to secure the southern border. He defunded sanctuary cities. And Phil Cristofanelli backs the blue to keep our neighborhoods safe from gangs, fentanyl, and human traffickers. He's been named one of Missouri's most conservative legislators year after year. Cristofanelli stands up to the radical left and weak-kneed Republicans. Pro-life, he helped pass one of the nation's strongest anti-abortion laws and defunded Planned Parenthood. Pro-Second Amendment, he stood up for our gun owners and constitutional rights. And Cristofanelli is keeping men out of girls' sports and locker rooms. Phil Cristofanelli, an unwavering conservative for state senate.
Paid for by friends of Phil Cristofanelli, Dan Raker's treasurer.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, we have sunny skies, 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch. In the news, Vice President Kamala Harris has selected Minnesota Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate. CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes reports his congressional experience will be helpful if they're elected in November. On social media, Walz called his selection to the ticket in honor of a lifetime.
He served in Congress for 12 years. He was on the Armed Services Committee. He was a ranking member of the Veterans Affairs Committee. He was on the Agriculture Committee. So he has experience legislating on a variety of issues, something that really comes in handy when you are vice president and you are dispatched to Capitol Hill to negotiate over the budget or any legislative priority that the White House may have.
The Trump campaign blasted Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate as dangerously liberal extremist. Walz has enacted policies protecting abortion rights and restricting gun access. The National Transportation Safety Board conducting a 2-day fact-finding hearing over the plug that blew out in January and left a gaping hole in a plane midair.
NTSB Chair Jennifer Hamady apologized to passengers and crew for what they experienced on January 5th when a door plug missing bolts blew out, leaving 8 people with minor injuries.
We're here to improve safety.
She says the board doesn't assign fault or blame for an accident, but that doesn't mean there won't be tough questions.
They should be asked. This is an investigation.
Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
There's a bear. Come here, Mary Lou.
See it, Mary Lou? Look out here. It's right by the tree. See, for crying out loud.
A black bear the size of a cow stomped into the courtyard of the Benedictine living community at the shrine yesterday. Tammy Sin is a physical therapist assistant.
Took pictures and videos, and it came up to the window and looked in at us and multiple times, and after a while, it went on its way somewhere else.
Sin tells KMOX they've never seen a black bear on the property before. From the KMOX business desk, Frontier Airlines, the 5th busiest carrier at St. Louis Lambert International Airport, is cutting a route from its local service this month. The airline scaling back its schedule nationwide. The Denver-based low-cost carrier will end service between Philadelphia and St. Louis on August 12th, according to a Frontier spokesperson. The Dow from Stifel this hour is up 478 points at 39,181. The S&P 500 up 90 points at 5,276. Checking the forecast for today, we are under a heat advisory between noon and 6. Temperatures are going to reach 95, but the real feels could be over 100 this afternoon. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 68. And then cooler and less humid tomorrow with a mix of clouds and sun, a high of 81. Right now, we have sunshine, 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Sachs Financial on your side. Sachs Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Sachs Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Get paid to save with Empower Checking, a new high-yield checking account. Visit togethercu.org/empower.
Meet me in St. Louis, Louis, meet me at the fair. Don't tell me the lights are shining.
I don't want to brag or anything, but I knew this was Judy Garland. I knew that.
You did not know
I
that.
absolutely did. I said to Matt, is this Judy Garland? And he said, yes, it is. So praise me.
Well, No.
Praise me.
No. Quick note, we were talking about Chappell Roan, the singer. She's
Yeah.
from Springfield, and I was saying behind her performances, she always has drag queens. It's kind of like her signature. She is not a drag queen, but she has like the drag queens
Yeah.
performing, which is funny that Judy Garland came on because the trolley song from that movie has become an anthem for like the LGBT crowd.
Yes.
And Judy Garland is very popular in that crowd as well.
And before we get on to our guest who's patiently waiting,
I know.
And just so you know,
I'm riveted.
Chappell Roan had a ridiculously huge crowd at Lollapalooza this weekend.
You said
It was
80,000?
something like 80 to 100,000 people.
Which is crazy because I heard a
It's-
long form
it's
interview with her on
insane.
on a national station, but I had not heard of her, and it must be a very young,
Yes.
very TikTok crowd because I had never heard of her, and she's immensely popular, but no one I've talked to has ever heard of her. So I think it must be very young.
From just outside Springfield, Missouri.
Yes.
Now
we-
making it big, and she's going to be at the Landing hopefully sometime soon.
and
with
our
us-
guest is feeling ancient with us.
Yes,
she said.
it's the new
Thank you.
executive director for Laclede's Landing. Brandon Jones is with us in studio. It's good to have you, Brandon. How
It's
are you?
wonderful to be here. Thank you for having me.
So the Landing has a very there's a place in my heart for it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, and I'm glad that it's coming back. Would you say that it is back now, or is it still in progress?
I would say both, and
Mhm.
this is why I would say that. There are businesses down there who are just moving in. There are people living there. There are occupied apartments. There's a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And all sorts of things are happening. If you're down there, if you go down there today, you'll see construction trucks renovating apartments, renovating retail space, and folks going around looking at that space to occupy.
What
So-
does Laclede's Landing look like today, or how does it look like today compared to, let's say, even 2 or 3 years ago?
I would say that it is marching on the path to its goal, which is to become a neighborhood in the more traditional sense. I would say years ago it was an entertainment district primarily.
A lot of bars.
A lot of
clubs.
bars.
Yeah.
To say that's understatement of the
Spent
year.
a lot of time there.
Yes, everyone I talk to has a memory of that time, or no memory of that
Yes.
time.
That's what. There you go.
We always had.
There you
I
go.
had a friend. We called him Young William.
Yep.
He didn't always make the best decisions, and we're like, one day we're gonna find him in the gutter in Laclede's
That's right.
Landing. Like we always
Hey.
thought, if you can't find Young William,
I spent look. Hey.
he's in a
hilarious.
gutter in Laclede's Landing, probably.
I spent a weekend one night at Bar St. Louis.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
for hanging out down there.
What we're saying is, it's a community now, Ron.
Yes, more of a neighborhood.
It's for
And there will
friends
be
and family.
those opportunities to have a beer or two or whatever your number is. And of course, there's the casino and the Four Seasons that provides that at the moment. But there's a dog park. People walk their dogs. We have lunch on the Landing many Fridays. There are food trucks. People who work there come down for lunch. There are a lot of people who work on the Landing.
Mhm.
So it's not as obvious out on the street, perhaps as it used to be, what's going on there. But that's why I'm here. I want to let people know that
Yeah.
there are retail opportunities. There's an opportunity to live down there, and people are doing it. And the views are spectacular.
It really is beautiful, and it's funny because I'm wild and crazy now, but I have been historically known something as maybe uptight
No.
or a prude.
Well.
So I wasn't really out there like on Laclede's Landing, going there all the time when it was bars, and that's how I've always envisioned it, right?
Mhm.
Because years ago, that's just not how I was spending Friday, Saturday night. However, I do run through Laclede's Landing like in the morning. I'm a runner. We'll run
great.
around the arch, and having done that now as an adult, I'm like, oh my gosh, the history, the buildings, the streets. It's so beautiful. It's so historic. And what's cool is, like you said, there are restaurants, there's a coffee shop, there are places of business. So if you are like, a family out in Chesterfield, or you're out maybe in South County, like you can come down and go eat, bring the family. It's not necessarily just a Friday night, Saturday night spot.
Absolutely. And the Arch is just under Eads Bridge. So you can enjoy the Arch grounds and then come over to Laclede's Landing. I think of it as existing history. Laclede's Landing is really what the arch grounds look like before the arch was put up. Some of the buildings have cast iron that was what was left over from the building of Eads Bridge. So it's very special. It's on the National Historic Register. So that architecture is also a draw for people, for preservationists and history buffs.
It's interesting you say that because on the arch grounds, whereas, just the open space now, the greens and all that, and then the stairs, all of that used to be buildings.
Yes.
Just like what the landing is. It was all up and down between like where the bridges are. Now, that's
Exactly.
and I don't think most people know that.
There is an exhibit in the Arch Museum about that. And Laclede's Landing is sort of a life-size diorama of what that looked like.
So the progress that's being made now, you said people are moving into it. Do you
Yes.
have an occupancy percentage of how well it's doing in terms of attracting people to live there? Because I know of at least a couple of influencers who live there and are constantly posting from, where they live and photos. So clearly there's a push to get a younger crowd there. Is that kind of what's been happening?
I would say it is a mixed crowd, but heavy on the younger side at the moment. There are approximately 150 occupied apartments, and it's a 9-block area. So that really makes a difference when 150 people live there. As soon as apartments are completed, they're being rented. So it's actively growing. So the next time I speak to you, if I have that fortunate opportunity, the number will be bigger. It's constantly growing.
So spaces that are opening up are getting taken pretty quickly.
Yes. And the views really are incredible. So I think people really want to get in on anything that opens up with a view of the arch or the bridge. There's a corner apartment that is facing southeast. And if you look out one window this size, you will see the bridge and the river. And if you look this way, you have a perfect view of the arch. So I think it's not only the buildings. People really dig the surroundings and dig what you see when you're looking around. And you realize that the river is a working river. I get fascinated watching all of the river traffic. Some crazy stuff comes down on boats. So that's endlessly fascinating. Perhaps I'm dull, but I find that interesting.
Well, have you met Amy?
Yes. Well, hello.
So-
We are
Your
kindred spirits.
reputation precedes
It
you.
does.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you about this because I do know we had talked about this and maybe, might be a year and a half, 2 years ago now. But there was some issues with those trying to revitalize Laclede's Landing with some vagrancy and vandalism issues. Have you been able to rectify that situation and improve the issues that business owners were dealing with?
Yes. That issue has largely been mitigated. There's been an effort to make sure that people receive services if they're willing to do that. And so it's been not just a quick process of kicking people out, more of a seeing what people need and trying to get them connected with what they need. The recent flooding had an impact. So that issue has been largely mitigated. But that's a recent development. Everybody wanted to handle it sensitively. So I'm glad to say that services in the city and the neighbors have come together to make sure folks got the help that they needed.
So what about and I'm trying to think of when flooding happens in St. Louis, sometimes it's really bad. And I'm trying to picture just how far up water comes. It really doesn't encroach on the landing all that much, does it? Whenever it does happen?
It really comes up to Lenore K. Sullivan if it's bad.
Yeah.
And recently
Like
the
93
river
bad?
93 bad would have been a little further up than that, but it doesn't typically impact the buildings at all.
Yeah.
That it was most riverways are planned with that buffer, and there is that buffer.
So in terms of local partners, the city itself, what sort of help and assistance have you had from whether it's businesses, community organizations, the city itself?
Definitely the city itself, and also Greater St. Louis Incorporated. They have been a tremendous support. They're providing some subsidies really for the whole downtown area for businesses that are new, want to find a spot. They have offered some assistance for pop-up businesses to occupy spots and help small businesses get going. So there's also a downtown neighborhood association. So we've all kind of gotten together. We talk. Everybody has the same goal, and it's basically the same area. So it's been really a pleasure to be down there and see how many different agencies are interacting.
And again, like that Laclede's Landing area, it's a 9-block riverfront community, and it's got more and more apartments, right? People are living there, they're working there, but it's been a rough couple of years because not only COVID, but I imagine the arch renovation, which is awesome that they fixed the grounds. That must have been hard as well as they shut down streets around that area. Did that have an impact on you guys?
It did. Like any major improvement going in near a neighborhood, there will be an impact with regard to access. So we are very friendly neighbors. And so we've talked a lot about that. And there are other ways to access the landing, and our neighbors are helping with that wayfinding. But really, the partnerships between the organizations are what is helping to mitigate that, letting each other's customers know that you just walk under Eads Bridge, there it is. Parking is an issue everywhere, but there are parking lots on the landing that can handle good capacity. So we've moved beyond that, and it is the way it is now. We're grateful for the renovation. It's a beautiful park, and we consider that an amenity for Laclede's Landing.
Yeah.
So if there's something that you want people to know about it, because I mean, unfortunately, when I think, people in my circle or most of those that I'm acquainted with, when we talk about what to do in St. Louis, very rarely anymore do people say, let's go to the landing. Let's see what's happening down there. So what do you want people to know about it and the progress being made?
I would like people to know that there are a variety of opportunities down there. It is not the Laclede's Landing some people may remember, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something going on. So it's worth it to, if you're down at the Arch, take a walk over to Laclede's Landing and enjoy that view of the river and see what's going on. We are very pleased that Gordon Ramsay has a new restaurant in the Four Seasons. So, and walking there would take you right through the landing. We want folks to know that things are updating, things are changing. It's a refreshed area, and it's definitely worth coming down and taking a look. And we hope to offer new opportunities for people to delve a little deeper into the assets we have, the history you spoke about. So I'm talking with the preservationist community about how we can amplify those assets, providing tours, providing opportunities to learn about it. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the old spaghetti factory is still there.
Oh, yeah.
So that is a great reason to go down.
Kimchi guys.
Kimchi
They're down
guys
there?
down there.
Yep.
Brew Tulum, which had been in a different location, has moved down to
It was
the
on Del
landing.
Mar.
It was.
Yep.
It's a coffee shop.
Yep.
Every neighborhood needs a coffee shop.
Yes.
So businesses are moving down there and showing confidence in what we're doing, and people are moving down there.
And I'll just say like a quick note aesthetically, because when I get down to old downtown St. Charles, right? Like the brick buildings and the cobblestone streets. Every time I walk down there, I think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. That is the feeling I get at Laclede's Landing, but just having the arch right there in sight and being on the mighty Mississippi. If you are a history buff, if you love the city of St. Louis, if you like just soaking in the aesthetic, the architecture, heck, if you're like on Instagram, you like posting pictures, it's so beautiful. Laclede's Landing aesthetically
really
is
so gorgeous. It's like going to colonial America. That's what it
is.
feels like.
And
yes.
it's the founding spot. It's where Laclede landed, thus the name. So it's very important in the story of our city. Obviously, there were people there before. It also has was occupied by Native American folks and all the way back. But as far as the history of St. Louis goes, it was the founding spot. And we'll also be amplifying that more with markers identifying what happened where and all of that. So that would have more of a walking tour feel. I think it's one thing to see beautiful historic buildings, but it's another to learn a little bit more about what happened there.
Brandon Jones, Executive Director of Laclede's Landing. The website is lacledeslanding.com if you want information on everything they have to offer. We appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's wonderful.
Brandon Jones with us on KMOX.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Fira Capital Management, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call Fira Capital Management today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Fira Capital Management, 314-328-4400. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC. Firm may not give tax advice.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9-MILLION.
Chatting today with Debbie about her experience with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Now, Debbie, you had a huge project. How did it go?
My experience was wonderful. I worked with Taylor, and if he was my son, I'd be very proud.
That's quite the endorsement. What were the details of your project?
I had 2 bathrooms done, a new kitchen, and a pretty large flooring project.
And did they get it done in the time frame you were expecting?
Well, it took 2 weeks because it was a big job.
Did the quality of work meet your expectations?
Yes, it was excellent.
Would you recommend 3-Day Kitchen and Bath to someone that was deliberating on redoing their kitchen or bathroom?
I would, and I have already.
Sounds like you'd give them a 5-star rating.
I did.
There you have it. Another 3-Day Kitchen and Bath satisfied customer. Request your in-home consultation today at 877-229-8829 or online at 3daykitchen.com.
It's about time at 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Home values are sky high and you have a ton of equity. Your financial advisor thinks the market is peaked, so if you're thinking about selling, it's time, except for 2 things. High interest rates will burn you on a new home loan, and you're not ready to move. Savvy financial advisors suggest Truehold's new Sell and Stay program. It's ingenious because they buy your home now while its value is high, but you can stay in your home as long as you want with an easy, affordable lease. Smart, right? Truehold will make you a solid cash offer, not a lowball offer like the others. It's based on your home's current value. The cash is yours to travel, pay off bills, or secure your retirement. And again, you can stay in your home with a comfortable lease. Truehold covers property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. See how much Truehold will pay for your home today. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
McKelvey Homes Waterfront at Wild Horse Village in Chesterfield is selling fast. With just 3 open home sites and 2 quick move-in homes available, you don't want to miss your chance to live in this unique community. Visit McKelveyHomes.com for more information.
Local insights, breaking news. KMOX, the news station dedicated to St. Louis and the region. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Well, we just made out like bandits.
Oh, dude, did we ever?
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, Brandon Jones from Laclede's Landing came in to tell us about what's happening down there and the rejuvenation that's happening.
Mhm.
And there's a deli called the Cobblestone. She didn't tell us off the top, but she waited until the end to say, brought you a bunch of food. And this stuff is so good.
Well, I'm looking at a Fruity Pebbles cheesecake, which is amazing. I took a breakfast burrito with eggs and sausage and bacon and melted cheese. It looks amazing. You got like a spicy chicken wrap.
Chicken bacon ranch panini from the Cobblestone on the Landing. This is great.
It looks so good. I have to check it out. Also, we got a text from our good friend Neil Salsick of the Mighty Pines. He said, great segment on the Landing. He's a fan of Laclede's Landing. And it is August, isn't it? It is August. In a few weeks, August 24th is Pines Fest.
Oh, that's right.
Featuring the Mighty Pines and also like the Funky Butt Brass Band, the Hen House Prowlers, Handmade Moments. And it is at the Big Top in Grand Center Arts District. So that's Midtown. And you can check out Pines Fest and buy tickets.
That is not too far from here. And it's really close, actually, just a few blocks. And I don't think we can overstate how important. We talk about certain gems of the city, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think Laclede's Landing is as important as any area in the city.
Yeah. Well, it's surrounding the arch, which is our gemstone, but it's also like Brandon said, the founding location of the city of St. Louis as we know it.
Because it's the kind of place that if you were to come from, somewhere else and you walk down there, you would think, oh my gosh, this should be something. This little neighborhood should be a thing that everybody talks about. And I think it's unfortunate that over the last several years, certainly since I moved back to town, I mean, I left in 2002 and the Landing was still a thing in St. Louis back at that time. By the time I came back, nobody really talked about it. And if we can get it back to a place where people are saying, oh, I'm going to the Landing, I'm stopping by the Landing, or I'm moving to the Landing. I mean, that would be such a benefit to the area. It's like you've got Forest Park, you have the Arch, Busch Stadium, the Hill, all of these places that are St. Louis. Laclede's Landing is St. Louis, and it should become a thing again. And I'm really glad to hear that they're working toward it.
And it really is beautiful. And the cobblestone streets, the brick buildings. Brandon mentioned some of the iron that's there that was left over from the construction of the Eads Bridge. And so much history. It's like it reminds you of that colonial America feel. It reminds you of the cobblestone streets in downtown St. Charles, of course, that on River City as well. But I'm excited that they are working to build up different communities. And that's what it takes, is community by community, neighborhood by neighborhood, building those institutions, bringing people there, and that will ultimately revitalize the city.
To make it a place where people say, hey, I want to go visit, or I want to think about moving there, would just be so important for downtown and for the entire city. That's Amy Marks Coors. I'm Chris Ranji. The Cardinals lost one yesterday. Kind of a tough loss for them to take because, well, it was a team that they are chasing in the playoff race. To talk about that and what's next, we've got Lynn Worthy, who covers the Cardinals for the Post-Dispatch. He's next on KMOX.
For eligible individuals, 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Select's premium package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home, all done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge.
Oh, you people are wonderful.
Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee.
I hear better than I ever thought possible.
Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to JabraEnhance.com/try. That's JABRA Enhance.com/try. JobraEnhance.com/try.
At Odyssey, we believe in casting a wide net to create a diverse and inclusive workforce, as we value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be directly notified of our open positions. Again, that's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for our listeners, we invite you to visit odysseyinc.com/careers. There, you'll find an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Summertime is the best time to enjoy the outdoors and enhance the appearance of your home. Banner Construction can make your home the showplace of the neighborhood with maintenance-free James Hardie siding and beautiful Pella replacement windows. Drive up to your home with a renewed pride. Visit bannerconstruction.com or call 314-569-1050. Get a free in-home design and estimate. Call 314-569-1050 and have a banner day. 314-569-1050.
At 11:30, we have sunny skies, 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. Reactions split cleanly along party lines now that Vice President Harris has chosen Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries posted, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will lead America into a brighter future for everyone. Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson posted, Harris has now chosen a progressive running mate who has voiced support for socialism. Minnesota Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar posted, Minnesota is known as the land of vice presidents, and we've got another great one on the way. While fellow Minnesotan Republican Majority Whip Tom Emmer wrote, Walz has worked to turn Minnesota into Harris's home state of California. Lindy Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
The weather is sponsored by Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. We're looking for mostly sunny skies today, hot and humid, and a heat advisory that kicks in at noon, lasting until 6 p.m. That's because we can have real feel temperatures over 100 this afternoon. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 68. Right now, we have 89 degrees downtown at the Arch. Chances are you have a lot of people who depend on you, your family, maybe even employees. Life insurance from Penn Mutual can provide you peace of mind and protect the most important people in your life. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. If you're thinking about selling your home, I'm sure there are two things that you want: certainty and the most money, right? This is Debbie Monterey, and if you've been listening to me for some time, you know that the agent I trust is Gloria Liu with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, St. Louis's real estate expert. Here's why she should be your first call when looking for an agent. Gloria does not make empty promises. She provides written guarantees. What does that mean for you? Certainty. Certainty isn't the only thing you want. You also want the most money. Gloria is able to get her home sellers more money than the average agent because she already has the buyers. This is why Gloria will guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she will buy it. To get your guaranteed price, call St. Louis's real estate expert, Gloria Liu, at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888, or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
I have a save the date for Stray Paws Rescue's annual party. Has food trucks, drinks, raffles, all the good stuff, and puppies, doggies looking for their forever home. If you could, or if you want to, it's in St. Peter's, just go to my website. That is bartinman.com. So that's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. It's July 27th, 12 to 5 p.m. out in St. Peter's. It's a good time. I'll be there. I just don't know when I'm going to be there, but you get to meet all the volunteers. But if you're looking to do something and you would like just to volunteer, again, go to the website. Can never have enough volunteers. Or if you would like to, if you have a couple dollars and you would like to help a dog out, help a dog out. Help me out. No, not for me. Help a dog out. Again, that is July 27th, Saturday. It's on a Saturday, 12 to 5. Thanks for your help in advance, and God bless.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Maholtra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
Hey, it's Bo Matthews for Beast Plumbing. And if you need a new water heater like today, maybe it just went out, send them a picture of your water heater for an estimate, and you could have same-day service. Call 314-500-LEAK and find them online at BEISplumbing.com.
I'm Frank Ladd. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Hi, I'm Paul Goldschmidt. I'm Cardinals outfielder Lars Nootbaar. I'm Woodson Contreras. Now, Chris and Amy give you the birds.
I'm Adam Wainwright, and you're listening to the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
He swings and lifts a fly ball left center field. Bader has it in his sights and makes the catch, and this ball game has come to an end. A combined shutout today for Manaea, Stanek, and Diaz as the Mets win the makeup game 6-0.
This Cardinals report is brought to you by Renner Garage, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. And the Cardinals did drop that game yesterday to the New York Mets. It was a makeup game from KMOX Day. We had KMOX Day months ago, and then it rained out. So a loss they took, which is not the best, considering they are trailing the Mets in the wild card race. And joining us to talk about our St. Louis Cardinals is Lynn Worthy. He is a writer for the Cardinals on the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, STLtoday.com. You can read them. Good to have you with us, Lynn. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we would like to have been talking about a Cardinals winner yesterday. Of course, there's a lot of time left to go in this season, but every opportunity you get against an opponent that you are chasing for a playoff spot, you kind of want to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, that game, as you mentioned, against the Mets, it's a team that's also fighting for that last playoff spot. And by that loss, it improves their position. It drops your position as far as the Cardinals. And just overall right now, the Cardinals seem to have hit a little bit of a rut where, you know, after the trade deadline, that last series at home against the Rangers, they finished strong, had, you know, 2 wins to finish out that series. Tommy Pham with the big grand slam, and Mike McGreevy had his debut, and it looked like they were in an upward direction, or trending that way. And now a series in Chicago in this makeup game, and they've dropped 4 of 5 and 6 of their last 10.
So as it stands right now, we're looking at the team, and you mentioned Tommy Pham. We are looking at them post All-Star break, post trade deadline, and since the deadline, it hasn't gone particularly well for them. Do you think they addressed the needs that they had going into the deadline well enough?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were 3 things that they went into the deadline targeting. Heading into it, I wasn't sure that they would actually be able to address all 3. Honestly, because they were looking at starting pitching, relief pitching, and a right-handed bat, preferably in the outfield. And I think that was sort of known that that's what they were looking for going into the deadline. I thought maybe they'd be able to address 2 of 3. They were able to address all 3, you know, with the help of a 3-team trade, and that kept them from really having to trade from much of their minor league depth. So I think they did a pretty good job in filling those needs with, when you think about, you know, Eric Fedde as the starting pitcher, who did not have a good start his first time with the Cardinals, but a pitcher who's pitched well this season and who they'll have for next year as well. Add a bullpen depth piece with Sean Armstrong, and then of course Pham. I think they did a pretty good job of addressing their needs, but obviously the first, you know, week or so after that trade deadline, it has not played out the way they would have liked.
So right now, looking at the schedule, a series against the Rays at Busch Stadium starts tonight. It is a 3-game series. You've got them, then Kansas City for a couple. The Reds, the Dodgers, the Brewers, Twins, Padres, and Yankees. That's what they will face for the remainder of the month of August. Looking at the opponents coming up here, and I don't know how much I like to look at strength of schedule when it comes to baseball, because I think the sport's a little bit different and a little more volatile. But as you look at the schedule, is this a good opportunity for them to make up ground, or could this be a difficult road for them?
Well, if you're talking about strength of schedule, I think it was I forget exactly which metric it was used, but something like the third toughest strength of schedule for the rest of the season, I think, in the majors by one estimate, just based on the records of the teams that they're facing. I think they have something like 28 of the next 31 games against teams with winning records. Kansas City, you mentioned, is obviously pushing for a playoff spot. The Rays are always a strong team. They traded away some players and seem to be sort of looking ahead towards next year, but they're not a team that's far behind in terms of just where they are with their record and their team this season. So then you mentioned the Dodgers. I mean, so it's not as though they have got any walkovers coming. The Reds haven't played up to what they some people projected this season, but they're still a team that's played particularly tough against the Cardinals this season. So it's not going to be any there's no easy wins if you're just looking at the schedule right now. But like you said, it's one of those things where you can't really go by schedule necessarily. It depends on how guys play that day, if you can get some pitching, if you get right matchups. But on paper, it is not an easy stretch coming up for them.
No, so I mean, just looking at it, it does appear to be difficult, as you mentioned, on paper. And the Cardinals right now, we know they are now in third place in the division. Well, I guess they're technically tied with Pittsburgh. Both are 6 games back of the Brewers. As for the wild card race, they spent a lot of time in one of the top 3 wild card positions, but now they're chasing Pittsburgh and the Mets and the Padres and the Diamondbacks. So which of those teams in the wild card race are you most concerned with as they try to make up that ground?
I'm not sure that there's, if you say that, there's one that you're particularly concerned about, I think just the fact that there's so many teams bunched close together where it's not like you're just chasing one team. I mean, I think it's like, so they're 4 games back of that last wild card spot, and there's 4 teams, I think, all within 5 games of the last spot. That's not even including the Padres, who are in, I think, the last spot right now. And the Padres have looked well recently. They've made some moves to improve their roster as well. So I think the main thing is the team that really is the concern is the Cardinals. Just the fact that they haven't played well recently. You've got some hitters who have gone cold. I mean, obviously yesterday shut out for the 4th time this season. I think they left 7 men on base. The last week or so, Burleson's been hitting under 200, as has Contreras and Goldschmidt. So I think the concern isn't necessarily any particular other team. It's the Cardinals getting back on track and playing more like they had earlier this season when they had, put themselves in position to be in that playoff spot.
I think the key to the offense more than anything, and we're still sort of waiting for it, is for Goldschmidt and Arenado to kind of resemble something like their old selves. Is that the kind of thing that we should just not be expecting or hoping for to happen with 2 months left to go?
Their old selves, I'm not sure. At this point in the season, I don't know if you can expect their old selves. I think you can expect what you've seen at stretches this season, where you've seen Goldschmidt being able to hit the ball out of the park. And actually, he's looked better at the plate of late. I just don't know if you can count on him to have, one of those just lights out months like he had during his MVP season. I think, what we've seen this season seems to indicate that that's probably not something you should expect. Arenado obviously hasn't hit for the same sort of power that he has. He's hit well in stretches, and overall this season is overall batting average hasn't been terrible, but it's just not the power that you expect. He's always been a run producer, home run guy, RBI guy. So I think to expect them to, in this last couple of months, all of a sudden revert back to, like 2022 versions of themselves, I don't know if you can expect that. But you've also won games this season with some of these other guys like Burleson and Wynn and Contreras, carrying a big portion of the offense. So I think that is something that you'd like to be able to expect if you're a Cardinals fan, because that was what put you in such a good position earlier this season.
Len, you mentioned the Cardinals needing to play better like they were earlier in the season, but I mean, they've been struggling since even before the All-Star break. Since the All-Star break, they're 7-10. If you go back to their loss to Kansas City, that doubleheader loss back in July, they're 9-14. So since July 10th, which is the wrong direction right now, they're going to have to, yes, turn around the way they're playing the past couple of weeks, but really, I mean, it's been longer than that.
Yeah, they seem to have hit a little bit of a lull, and I think there was some optimism that the All-Star break, that actual couple of days might help them sort of recharge, and some guys are starting to get tired. The pitching staff obviously had been worked pretty hard, especially the bullpen, and that's why bullpen was one of the things they wanted to address. They're hoping to get some fresh arms here in the coming weeks with some guys who've been injured, and obviously the addition of Sean Armstrong. But yeah, I think there was some hope that getting a little bit of a rest would help. But and you see it in a game or two here and there, but it just hasn't been consistent enough. I mean, it's been basically 500 or a little bit below when they were one of the best teams from mid-May to going into the All-Star break. They've been one of the best teams in baseball. Now it seems to have leveled off, and just seems to be as though they're running on fumes or just sort of a little bit flat.
With the Michael Ciani injury, and he's out for 3 to 4 weeks, so it's going to be some time. Victor Scott taking his place on the roster. Do you imagine that Scott will stick? Is that what they're going to go with here for the next few weeks?
I think he'll play some, but I don't know that he'll be. I don't expect that he'll be the everyday guy. I think you'll see some Lars Nootbaar in center field. They do put an emphasis on defense, and Victor Scott has shown himself to be a very high caliber defender, but offensively he had struggles when he was up earlier this season. He started to make some adjustments and look better towards the last few weeks that he was down in AAA. But I think the fact that you've got Tommy Pham, who they really brought in geared towards trying to help with some of their struggles against left-handed pitching, but he's hit well enough where he's probably earned himself some more playing time even against right-handed pitching. Lars Nootbaar obviously has shown himself to be a productive offensive player. Alec Burleson as well. So I think, they'll try to keep these guys in the lineup. And with Pham producing, at least he has been productive so far, I think Scott will get out there because they want his defense out there, and they're going to try to make sure that they keep him in the mix there. But I don't think it's going to be an everyday he's running out there the way they had started to get to with Ciani.
Lynn Worthy covering the Cardinals for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. We appreciate it as always. Thanks for jumping on with us.
Thank you.
So, again, the Cardinals will play tonight against the Tampa Bay Rays. The Fast Eddie's Fastball with Chris and Amy is brought to you by Fast Eddie's Bon Air in Alton, Illinois. And getting the start for the Cardinals is Sonny Gray tonight. It is a 6:45 first pitch, which means the pregame show on KMOX will be at 5:50. And Gray with a 5.81 ERA in his last 5 starts going back to the early part of July. The results have not been there for him. Meanwhile, Jeffrey Springs is going to make his second start of the season for the Rays. Again, takes place at Busch Stadium tonight. KMOX will get started with the broadcast at 5:50. That's Amy Markscores. I'm Chris Ranji. It is the voice of St. Louis.
Your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home. When it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, and you can even schedule evening and weekend service. Just call 314-781-5200. And always look for the red ribbon. It's your assurance you've got the genuine, the original overhead door. The most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. For same-day service, schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. 314-781-5200.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight, and we are focusing on mental health. Joining me is Dr. Jessica Vanderland, psychologist with Siteman.
We offer a number of therapy groups for Siteman patients and their families. These are all, again, focused on cancer-related distress and issues. We also provide short-term individual therapy. Again, cancer-focused.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
The pitch.
Do you dream about calling Cardinals games?
Goldschmidt swings and he hits.
If so, the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum is for you. Learn about play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, and working with pro athletes from the best broadcasters in the business. John Rudin, Chip Caray, Rick Horton, Brad Thompson, and more. The Sportscasters Forum is Thursday, September 19th at Live by Lowe's. Tickets include 3 educational sessions, lunch, and a ticket to that evening's Cardinals game. For details, go to MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Hey guys, Glover here for Universal Windows Direct. Call 314-334-2522 to schedule your free in-home estimate today. And for every 2 windows you buy, you get the next 2 free. Plus 0% financing for 60 months. Remember, Universal Windows Direct backs it up with a true lifetime warranty as long as you own the home and a 20-year warranty to the next homeowner. Tell them I told you to call and get an additional $250 off your project. For the last windows you'll ever need, go to UWD.com. Like me, you'll be saying, I love my windows. 314-334-2522.
Hi, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about the 213 Flashpoint Complex, which is available at one of my favorite places, Supplement Superstores. Now, this is a metabolism drink. You have one in the morning, one in the evening. It helps you optimize fat loss around the clock. Yeah, even while you're sleeping. So it'll fight and eliminate cravings. It gives you all-day focused energy with no crash. At night, it lowers cortisol levels. That'll aid in recovery and helps you get that restful night's sleep as well. 213 Flashpoint is available at Supplement Superstores. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
What if I told you your home movies are already past their prime? It's true. The magnetic tape used in VHS and camcorder tapes only lasts between 10 to 20 years, which means your baby's first steps, weddings, and family vacations are fading away as we speak. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box stops this fading process in its tracks. And by preserving your recordings, they're safe forever. Legacy Box is simply the best way to preserve your past, which is why they've been trusted by over 1 million families. Your memories are meant to be shared, not chewed up by the VCR or worn away with time. For a limited time, you can convert your tapes to digital for just $9 a tape. There's never been a better time to convert your entire collection. That includes film reels and photos too. Visit legacybox.com/value to get our $9 sale. That's legacybox.com/value to unlock our $9 offer. Legacybox.com/value.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A secret hoard of 1904 $20 Gold Liberty coins have been found. These gorgeous 1904p gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck, and less than 500 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this secret U.S. gold coin discovery a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and you can own a piece of the hoard. When you call, you are guaranteed a 1904 Gold Liberty struck at the iconic Philadelphia Mint. With limited availability, you must call now. These 1904 dated gold coins are still in uncirculated condition with brilliant luster. That is 120 years of history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-973-3077. Call now, and you'll receive a free bonus, a $75 value free with every order. Call 1-800-973-3077 now to secure your 1904p $20 Gold Liberty coins before they sell out. That's 1-800-973-3077.
I'm Joe Pott. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Everyone desperate for this streak to end. But the streak will go on as the White Sox lose 5-1. As the losing streak is now 21 games. As the White Sox etch their name on the wrong side of history.
What a bunch of damn losers.
Woo, we did
Absolute
it!
losers.
We did it!
21 straight games tying the Major League record, the Baltimore Orioles in 1988. I was
Wow.
11. the last time a team has been this sucky.
Hey, a lot's happened since the White Sox last won a game.
Dude, go over it.
Yes?
Yes. I thought you were going to go over it.
I was
Donald
holding...
Trump was shot.
That's right.
Joe Biden
dropped out of the race.
Kamala Harris has gone campaigning and has picked a new running mate. All of this has happened since the White Sox last won a game on July 10th.
Unbelievable.
So it is the only reason we are talking about them is because they haven't made history. They have repeated history with an opportunity tonight to make history by losing
excited.
22 straight games. They play in Oakland against the A's. And think about that. The A's are garbage. The A's are 20 games under 500. They already won game 1 of the series. Now game 2's tonight.
I think Jerry Reinsdorf is colluding with, who's the A's owner again?
John Fisher.
With John Fisher. And Fisher
Scumbag.
has asked Reinsdorf to just absolutely tank so that when the White Sox make history in Oakland today, then Fisher can say to A's fans, see, we're trying. That's what not trying looks like.
You know, we asked this question yesterday, and maybe this should be our Twitter poll for today.
I think it should.
But so you're a Cardinals fan listening to this. If the Cardinals, and again, just suspend disbelief here, okay?
It's going to take an enormous amount of suspended disbelief.
Yeah, because this likely will not ever happen to them in our lifetimes.
It will never
okay,
happen.
they're
to
never
them.
going to be this bad.
Never.
They could be underwhelming, but I don't think they're ever going to be this bad.
The world will end before the Cardinals are this bad.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, though, they find themselves 61 games under 500 on August 6th. And they have an opportunity to just be so bad, to be the worst team ever. Would you kind of root for it?
Yes.
Would you? I mean, what's the point of winning now? Why would you not just root for him to be the worst ever? Because if I'm a Sox fan, and I've seen a lot of Sox fans saying that they are rooting for that 121 losses, which would be the record. Forget the Cleveland Spiders, because that was in 1899. We're talking about the 62 Mets.
Yeah.
That really terrible 62 Mets team. To be worse than them, that's what I would be rooting for.
It's amazing.
And they are doing it because they think it sends a message to ownership that not only have you put a terrible team on the field, you've put the worst team in the history of Major League Baseball on the field. And the hope would be that you do something about it and you improve the team and rethink your philosophy. If you're a Cardinals fan in this situation, would you be rooting for them to be the worst team ever? We're going to put that on our Twitter poll. At Chris Amy KMOX.
And I get it. I know what you're saying. Like, that would never happen. We know it would never happen. We know that where would freeze over before the Cardinals got this bad. But we're just saying for fun. For fun. Because we all need a little fun. Think about it while you're going to vote today.
It's primary day.
It is primary day.
So go vote in our Twitter poll,
I'm
which
so
will be
excited.
up shortly. At Chris Amy KMOX on Twitter. It'll be there. Yes, it is primary day. So we've got that to tell you about. We have a new running mate for Kamala Harris to tell you about. It's all coming up in the news hour next on KMOX.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's also what a lot of us lack in our basement or garage. By switching to a Navien tankless water heater, not only will you have all the hot water you need whenever you need it, but you'll gain storage area as well. Maybe a place to display your space collectibles.
Highly logical.
Learn about Navient's series of high-efficiency tankless water heaters and how they don't just save space, but save dollars on your utility bills, too. For more, go to tanklessmadesimple.com.
Hi, I'm Angie Hicks, co-founder of Angie. And one thing I've learned is that you buy a house, but you make it a home. Because with every fix, update, and renovation, it becomes a little more your own. So you need all your jobs done well. For nearly 30 years, Angie has helped millions of homeowners hire skilled pros for the projects that matter. From plumbing to electrical, roof repair to deck upgrades. So leave it to the pros who will get your jobs done well. Hire high-quality certified pros at Angie.com.
KMOX, KEZK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
One of the things that surprises people after they retire is how much they still owe in taxes. That's usually because nobody showed them how to create tax-free income. Well, the good news is it's not too late. Steve Aul and the team at the Aul Financial Group can show you strategies that can help lower your tax obligations both now and in the future. Join Steve Aul for an exclusive educational workshop focusing on taxes in retirement. August 22nd and 27th. This event is complimentary, but you do need to qualify to attend. Call 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824. Or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice.
Mid-America's most trusted source for news. KMOX.
At 12 noon, we have 93 degrees under sunny skies downtown at the Arch. This news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. I'm Megan Lynch. Democratic Party nominee Vice President Kamala Harris has chosen Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate. CBS News Minnesota reporter Pauline Lee has covered the governor.
Governor Tim Walz actually writing his first tweet, him saying it's an honor of a lifetime to join Kamala Harris in this campaign. I am all in. Vice President Harris is showing us the politics of what is possible. It reminds me a bit of my first day of school, which is a nod to his time as an educator. So let's get this done, folks.
GOP vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance taking on his newly announced Democratic counterpart.
J.D. Vance has plenty to say about Tim Walz.
My view on it is it just highlights how radical Kamala Harris is.
Speaking to reporters ahead of his own campaign rally in Philadelphia, Vance said it's clear Walz and Harris are tracking together.
This is a guy who's proposed shipping more manufacturing jobs to China, who wants to make the American people more reliant on garbage energy instead of good American energy, and has proposed defunding the police just as Kamala Harris does.
And Vance called Harris and Walz an interesting tag team. Lindy Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
It surprised me.
That's John Shaw, director of the Paul Simon Public Policy Institute at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale.
I was surprised. I thought it was going to be Shapiro just because of the incredible importance of Pennsylvania.
Shaw tells KMOX he never really thought Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois would be chosen and that the mention of him as a possibility was a courtesy.
I mean, if Harris cannot win Illinois, she's in deep, deep trouble. And I just did not think that Pritzker brought that much to the table in terms of just the electoral calculus.
The judge in Donald Trump's hush money trial pushing back a date for a key ruling on presidential immunity until 2 days before Trump's scheduled sentencing. The immunity decision had been due September 6th, with the sentencing set for September 18th. But then Trump's lawyers asked Judge Juan Merchan last week to rule first on their renewed bid to get the judge to step aside from the case. In a letter made public today, the judge posted the immunity ruling to September 16th if it's still needed, after he decides next week whether to recuse himself. Tropical storm Debbie moved into some of America's most historic southern cities and was expected to bring prolonged downpours and flooding throughout the day today. Manatee Board of County Commissioners Chair Mike Ron explained what emergency operations have been like since the start of the storm.
Hurricane Debbie brought massive amounts of record rain to Manatee County. And over the last 72 hours, we had more rain here in Manatee County. But let the citizens know that the emergency operations have been operating here 24/7 since this storm began.
Debbie made landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast early Monday as a hurricane. At least 5 people have died. In Illinois last year, domestic violence deaths were up more than 100%. Vicki Smith with the Illinois Coalition Against Domestic Violence says in 70% of those deaths, a gun was used.
When weapons are in the home, we know that there's a 500% increased chance of homicide.
She and others are pushing for passage of Katrina's bill, which would require police to remove guns from the home when someone files an order of protection. She says once that order is filed, the abuser ramps up violence to regain control, and it's a community safety issue, not something between two people. From the KMOX business desk, Maryville University has announced it's welcoming its biggest freshman class ever, a 20% increase. The school says that's led to near capacity housing. The Dow from Stifel posting a rebound today, up 565 points at 39,269. The S&P 500 up 109 points this hour at 5,295. Checking the forecast for today, it's sponsored by Sachs Financial.
We are just about ready to stick a fork in our latest heat wave, but we've got to get through today. Sunny, hot, and humid this afternoon. 98 for the high, maybe a stray or a spot thunderstorm. Tough to find. Records 104. That's safe. Tonight, winds turn to the north. Partly cloudy skies. 68 for the low. Temperatures actually dropping fairly quickly during the evening into the 80s late evening. Wednesday, mostly sunny, nice, dropping humidity 82. Thursday and Friday, sunny and nice 85. Just about the same story Saturday and Sunday. So a wonderful break on the way. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Currently, we have sunny skies, 92 degrees, both in Florissant and St. Peters, 93 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
When it comes to retirement, you don't need to worry or sweat the small stuff if you have Sachs Financial on your side. Sachs Financial, home of the Retirement Compensation Plan. SACHS, Sachs Financial, because income is the outcome that matters. RetireSafeSTL.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on KMOX. Brought to you by Together Credit Union. Get paid to save with Empower Checking, a new high-yield checking account. Visit togethercu.org/empower.
Yes, it is Missouri primary election day here. It is
song's
time to vote. It is time to exercise
like
your
this song.
American freedoms and do your civic duty and vote in the primary.
This song is duty.
You know what? How? First.
This is not the national anthem.
First.
I can say whatever I want about Grand Old Flag.
How dare you?
I think this song bites.
That's what liberal Democrats would say.
Somebody with taste would say it. I have taste. This
Whatever.
song sucks.
Ignore my communist friend across from me in Studio B and wear your red, white, and blue proudly because it's time to go vote in the Missouri primary. Do you know what I did yesterday for fun? And this is not a joke. This is not a joke. I checked to see if it says, click here, check and see if you are registered to vote. Of course I am. I know I am. And in fact, not only that, but I have a, updated address. Everything's all updated because I just got my driver's license renewed, blah, blah, blah. I knew I was registered, but I just wanted to see it. And so you can go to voteroutreach.sos, Secretary of State, .mo.gov, and you can check to see if you're, registered to vote and where your voting, your closest voting station would be, polls would be, and then also it will show you the issues that will be on the ballot as well as the candidates. Very exciting, and I did it, and I saw my name, and I felt very patriotic.
And this is the process that people need to be involved in. And again, we talked about this off the top of the show. If you are one of those people who doesn't like it when we get to the final two choices in a general election, and you say things like, how come these are the two best options we have?
Right.
Well, your better options are available during the primary. You have to go and vote for them.
Yep.
And that's how we get to better candidates.
And of course, the big races are the Missouri gubernatorial race. Who will succeed? Governor Mike Parson, Secretary of State as well, Attorney General, as well as District 1 for the Missouri District 1 House of Representatives, which has the incumbent Cori Bush facing off against Wesley Bell, the current St. Louis County prosecutor. So some really big races right now.
Polls are open until 7 o'clock tonight, and some of the more recent polling that's it suggests the governor race, the governor primary for the Republicans, is really tight between
Really
Mike
tight.
Kehoe and Jay Ashcroft, with Bill Eigel about 8 or 9 points back. So we'll see how that all turns out. Meanwhile, for District 1, which is the race a lot of us are paying attention to because the incumbent Cori Bush, according to polling, and again, that's what elections are for. The polls could mean nothing on a day like this, but she is running behind Wesley Bell, according to the polling. Again, we don't have results from Election Day yet, but she's back about 6 points behind him in most recent polling. So we'll see. But that is a very fascinating race. Again, the polls are open until 7 o'clock tonight. We have a new running mate for Kamala Harris, and it is Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota.
What I know is that people like J.D. Vance know nothing about small town America. My town had 400 people in it, 24 kids in my graduating class, 12 were cousins, and he gets it all wrong. It's not about hate. It's not about collapsing in. The golden rule there is mind your own damn business. Their policies are what destroyed rural America. They've divided us. They're in our exam rooms. They're telling us what books to read. And I think what Kamala Harris knows is bringing people together around the shared values, strong public schools, strong labor unions that create the middle class, healthcare that's affordable and accessible.
That is Walz recently on MSNBC.
Yeah. Okay. I will say this. There's plenty to criticize J.D. Vance about. I get it. I mean, right. You cannot like his policies. You cannot like his attitude or the phrases and comments that he makes, the quips like the crazy cat lady. I get that. A little bit of an odd thing. And this happened from Governor Beshear as well, saying that, well, he didn't really come from rural America. You don't go to Yale. That's a very bizarre and untrue statement. We know that J.D. Vance came from poverty, from struggles, from a broken household. He was surrounded by drug use, and every community is going to look a little different. You don't have to invalidate where he came from to say that you disagree with him now, and you don't want to get into a battle of who really was the poorest and struggled the most. That's a weird attack to make because there are plenty of easy layups without going in and saying, well, your drug-addled single mom wasn't a real struggle.
Well, I think part of it is that people like Beshear and like Walz, who did grow up in areas like that. Walz, of course, didn't grow up in Kentucky, but to say that they feel like Vance is more taking advantage of those people that he grew up with and more making them a caricature, which I think they find to be insulting. And again, I have not read the book. I really don't have an interest in reading it. I'm just telling you what they think.
Right. And because I like to know and things for like myself, what did he say? I am reading the book. I'm in the middle of Hillbilly Elegy, and all of the praise, left, right, middle, everything in between, New York Times, The New Yorker, National Review, people loved it. From the book itself, I did not hear any criticism of his story until the movie came out, which he had really nothing to do with. That's Ron Howard's movie. And so, again, that to me, there's plenty to attack him on. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. Let's talk about locally what's happening here with the St. Louis City Public Schools. Missouri Auditor Scott Fitzpatrick will be in town on Thursday, August 8th, at the request of Mayor Tashara Jones, who asked the auditor, Scott Fitzpatrick, to audit St. Louis Public Schools. Because what we know is there is, you got to be careful with the word corruption. So maybe you would just say a scandal since the superintendent, Keisha Scarlett, has stepped down. She was placed on a leave of absence because after 1 year, the schools went from $17 million surplus to a $35 million deficit. And she had hired Keisha Scarlett, who came from the Seattle school district in that area, hired multiple people from that Seattle school district area, as well as their spouses. And so a very odd situation that ultimately ends up hurting the students.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Again, I don't know if it is intentional, if it's just incompetence, whatever it turns out to be. But it's not a good situation to lose that amount of money. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if you're coming from another area and you want to hire people who you think are good, who have done the job well in the past, and you want to add them to your staff and bring them in from another place with a different perspective. I think that's perfectly fine. The hiring of the spouses is weird, though, unless they're qualified to do certain jobs. But on the surface, it sounds like at worst mismanagement, terrible mismanagement.
Yeah, and even if you're going to, let's say the spouses are qualified, there is optics matter, and the impropriety of hiring a group of people that you used to work for and their spouses. It never looks good despite the qualifications. Another thing that doesn't look good are locks not working on jail cells, because
it's not funny.
We've talked. But it is, though. After a while, it becomes funny because it's a jail. Literally, you have one job in a jail, and that's to lock the doors. That's really what makes jail. That's the crux of it.
Yeah.
Is that you can't get out.
Yes.
That's why it's jail.
Yes.
Because the door's locked.
That's the thing.
That's what makes it a jail.
There are usually multiple locks on multiple doors.
Right. Like a resort has like pool facilities, and there's a hotel, and then there's a motel, and then there's jail. But the main difference is the doors lock in the jail and you can't get out. Not at the City Justice Center.
Oh, tell us about it.
The locks malfunctioned
Uh-huh.
yet again. So 2 weeks after 4 inmates were injured in a stabbing, somehow they all ended up stabbing each other. The 40 inmates escaped from their cells because the locks malfunctioned again, and it took guards over 2.5 hours, and it was quite the scuffle. And I think pepper spray was involved to get all of the inmates back in their cells. My question is, how do you get them back in their cells and get them to stay there if the doors won't lock? This is very different, but one time, those like clapping, singing Valentine's Day stuffed animals, maybe they'll be on the shelves at grocery stores, like the
Okay.
holiday stuffed animals,
Sure.
and you press a button. And I always thought it was funny to go to the shelves at Deerberg's. This is Deerberg's. And I hit all the buttons so that all the walking like penguins would start clapping and singing all at once. Didn't know is that the penguins actually walked. Like they walked. So after I hit all the buttons, 10 seconds later, they're still singing, but then they start marching. And so all the penguins walked off the shelves, and they're walking all over the dairy section of Deerberg's. And I'm picking them up again, and I'm putting them back on the shelves, forgetting that they're walking. So then they walked right back off the shelves. That's exactly how I'm picturing it went down at the City Justice
This
Center.
is how you. Okay. I was like, somehow this has to do with jail.
Like you couldn't keep them on the shelf.
I guess.
The manager came out and goes, "Excuse me." Escape because the locks don't work.
I don't know, man. Fix the locks. Wouldn't it be something if jail didn't have like multiple doors that you had to get past, multiple barriers
It
to
was
get
just
past?
one
If it
door.
was just like a sliding door that opens to the outside.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's my cell. I'm outside now. It seems that's what's happening at the Justice Center.
Yeah.
That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Oh my God, there was a wild animal spotted
What?
in southern Illinois.
Not the RFK Jr. bear.
No, that one's dead in Central Park.
Oh, that's right.
Totally different. Chris and Amy on KMOX.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Philo's got a world of entertainment for you to explore with just one subscription. Sign up today and start watching all the networks you love, like A&E, MTV, Discovery, VH1, TLC, Lifetime, Hallmark Channel, and so much more. Featuring current seasons of all the best drama, true crime, reality, and family-friendly shows you can't afford to miss. And with up to 3 streams at once, you'll never have to fight about what to watch. Get started today and unlock our library of over 75,000 movies and shows, and save all your favorites with the unlimited DVR, so you can rewatch them anytime, anywhere for up to a year. Philo now includes access to AMC Plus. You can discover your next obsession from its collection of hit originals like Mad Men, The Walking Dead, Killing Eve, Orphan Black, and tons of blockbuster movies. There are no contracts, no commitments, and no hassles. For just $28 a month, Philo's a better way to watch TV. So what are you waiting for? Visit philo.tv and sign up today to start your 7-day free trial. That's philo.tv.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
For eligible individuals 18 and older only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
How are your hearing aids sounding now?
A little tinny.
Okay, 2 seconds.
With Jabra Enhanced Select's premium package, better hearing doesn't happen in a doctor's office. It happens at home, all done remotely from initial testing to adjustments.
How are they sounding now?
Fantastic. So much better. You get the same advanced hearing aid technology and professional support you expect from a clinic at a fraction of the cost. And if you have any issues, we'll make adjustments 7 days a week, no charge. Oh, you people are wonderful. Our premium package includes hearing aids, 3 years of follow-up care, plus a 3-year warranty with loss and damage coverage, and a 100-day money-back guarantee. I hear better than I ever thought possible. Save $300 on Enhanced Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to jabraenhance.com/try. That's JABRA enhance.com/try. JabraEnhance.com/try.
Stages St. Louis presents Disney's Newsies. The smash hit musical Newsies takes you to New York City, where a band of newsboys become unlikely heroes, standing up to the titans of the publishing industry. Disney's Newsies at Stages St. Louis, an uplifting story packed with thrills, incredible dancing and singing, and a timeless message for the whole family. Tickets are available at stagesstlouis.org. It's Disney's Newsies on stage now. StagesSTLouis.org.
Just imagine being walked all over for 36 years. Who would do that? The great customers of Reinhold Flooring, that's who. For over 3.5 decades, Reinhold Flooring has been the mecca for carpet, hardwood, vinyl, laminate, and area rugs. Reinhold Flooring is customer-driven with a focus on top-quality products and installations from the best team in the business. So come on in and walk all over your next flooring at Reinhold Flooring. Visit them at 5429 Telegraph Road in St. Louis or online at reinholdflooring.com.
Hey there. Gerber Life would like to talk to you about the importance of guaranteed life insurance for when you...
No, thank you.
I get it. Nobody likes to think about life insurance because it means having to think about the end of... So I'll make this short and sweet. If you're 50 plus or 50 to 75 in New York, you can apply for Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance with guaranteed acceptance regardless of your health. Guaranteed acceptance means you don't need a medical exam. In fact, you don't even have to fill out a health questionnaire. For a free quote, just visit GerberLifeFamily.com. Then, when that thing you don't want to think about does eventually happen, and you know it will,
I'm not listening.
your family can use the insurance money to help cover the cost of your final expenses or anything else. Now that's worth thinking about. Gerber Life Guaranteed Life Insurance. For a free quote, visit GerberLifeFamily.com today. See website for terms and restrictions.
Leagues Cup 2024 is here. Cheer on City SC as they take on the Portland Timbers this Friday, August 9th at City Park. Tickets are on sale now at SeatGeek.com, starting at just $25.
Navigating politics with a balanced perspective, fostering discussions, not arguments. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
And the weather is brought to you by Sachs Financial. Right now, 94 degrees in St. Louis with a real feel of 100. It is 100. It feels like 100 outside. The humidity is not very high, but that dew point creeping up to 70.
It's going to feel like 107 this afternoon.
Oof, it's going to be hot today. So the we've had a lot of bear sightings in places you wouldn't think that you would see bears lately, Amy.
And again, this has nothing to do with the RFK Jr. dead bear in Central Park.
There's a bear. Come here, Mary Liz.
See it, Mary Lou? Look out here. It's right by the tree. See, for crying out loud.
Oh, look at him. He's lost. Well, we were walking outside today, sister. What would we do?
I don't know. Isn't that right?
He just keeps looking in the windows.
Yeah.
Well, that's from outside of an assisted. That's from an assisted living facility, and there was a black bear that's been roaming St. Clair County, and it happened, yesterday off of Illinois 157. the former Centerville area, and near the National Shrine of Our Lady of Snows in Belleville. So another black bear. And here's what the amazing thing is about this bear, Amy, is that it swam across the Mississippi River from Missouri. Are they that good a swimmer? They can get across that river?
Bears are great swimmers.
That river is impossible.
It is impossible. It's a massive river. The current's insane. I mean, this bear is, he wanted to travel across state lines.
Well, he is, I'll tell you what, he's on the team. He's on the Bears.
Victory.
Yeah. I think he is just celebrating training camp. He was trying to get as close to training camp as possible. So he crossed the river from Missouri into Illinois.
Good for him. Hey, speaking of being on the team, in the wake of the Chinese team doping scandal, I don't know if you remember this, but the World Anti-Doping Agency and World Aquatics, they acknowledged that 23 Chinese swimmers tested positive for a banned substance ahead of the Tokyo Olympics. So this was back in 2021. The results were not made public until the media report surfaced this year's. And apparently both anti-doping agencies and World Aquatics accepted the explanation from China that the positive tests were caused by like hamburgers and tainted foods. And like, oh my gosh, our 23 swimmers testing positive for banned substances in competition. It's really tainted food. It's not our fault. Well, it has been a scandal that has continued. The Chinese swimmers, I think athletes as well, other athletes as well, but the swimmers for sure have been undergoing extra tests. Here's what Michael Phelps had to say about the whole situation, because the Chinese team, the team from China, did win the men's relay in swimming. Michael Phelps said, if you test positive, you should never be allowed to come back and compete again. Cut and dry. I believe one and done. And you know what? I agree with him. If you are doping, if you are intentionally cheating in competition, why do you get a second chance? You've stolen that moment. Though, because the other swimmers, same with all the track stars, there are a lot of athletes from Russia, those from Kenya, who have been since tested positive and realized that they were doping when they won their medals in the Olympics or the World Championships. They get their medals taken away, but they stole those moments from other athletes. Those other clean athletes don't get a second chance.
Yeah.
Why do the dopers get a second chance?
So I would say this. You would have to be absolutely certain that an athlete did it on purpose. And again, I don't know all the intricacies of the testing policy or how rigorous it is, what goes into it. But I do know there are times where athletes will take a supplement. For example, in professional sports, they'll take a supplement thinking that it's okay. And they'll even, there's a guide that they can use. And there might even be a phone number they can call where they could say, hey, I want to take this. Is this okay? And they'll say, yes, that's okay. You're perfectly fine. And then it turns out there's something in it that shouldn't have been in it. That does happen. So in a case like that, I would be concerned. But if it's like blood doping or something like that that's obvious, then
or your entire swimming team. And here's what I think. The IOC is in bed with autocrats and human rights abusers, and they didn't want to upset China by punishing their athletes.
That might very well just be it. On our Twitter account, at Chris Amy KMOX, we asked you a question the other day. Would you pay a little bit extra for an option to be able to skip political ads on television? Because YouTube TV, as I use it, every time a political ad has come on lately, it says skip. And I click that button and I skip it. And it's so great. We asked you the question, would you pay extra for that feature? 69% of you said yes. 31% said no, you would not pay extra. We got a new Twitter poll that is up on our account, and you should go to it and you should vote. And it is, if the Cardinals, again, suspend disbelief, if the Cardinals found themselves 61 games under 500, like the White Sox are now, would you just go ahead and root for them to be the worst team in baseball by the end of the year? Go vote at Chris Amy KMOX.
Also, we want to hear from you on Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick and Governor Tim Walz. Here's what you need to do. Text or call 314-436-3676. 7900. You can leave us a text. You can talk to us live, or you can call the voicemail line at 314-944-1120. Leave a voicemail. We are going to be talking more Tim Waltz at 12:30.
Hey, St. Louis, our friends at Together Credit Union just launched a brand new high-yield checking account. It's called Empower Checking. It was with some folks from Together Credit Union yesterday. They were in the suite with us at the Cardinals game. The Empower Checking, with it, you earn above market interest on the money that you keep in your day-to-day checking account. Interest is paid to you each month. It is a checking account that rewards you for balances and not for activity. It's very easy to apply. All you have to do is go to togethercu.org or stop by any one of the 14 local St. Louis branches. If you feel more comfortable doing it in person, you can. You can work directly with one of the terrific member advocates. Get paid to save with Empower Checking. Visit togethercu.org/empower for full terms and details. Membership eligibility required. Together Credit Union, federally insured by the NCUA.
Paid for by Lori Rook from Missouri. Ryan Rook, treasurer.
Tuesday, you have a choice between the Jefferson City Swamp or me, Lori Rook. If we don't act now, they will continue keeping us in the dark about Missouri's finances. So when you see Lori Rook in that list of names, remember that I'm the one who isn't bought and paid for. And I'm the one who will pull back the curtain on Jeff City and tell it like it is. Vote Lori Rook for Missouri State Treasurer because you deserve to know.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining for attention? Trust Overhead Door Company of St. Louis to keep your garage door reliable. Maybe the old weather stripping needs replaced to keep out the cold and hot air. Call Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, trusted here since 1926. For same-day service, call 314-781-5200 and schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
At 12:30, we have sunny skies, 93 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News. U.S. stocks bouncing back, calm returning to Wall Street after Japan's market soared earlier to claw back much of the losses from its worst day since 1987. Strong profit reports from Uber and others helped support the market. The vast majority of stocks were climbing in a mirror opposite of the day before. Treasury yields rose as fear in the market subsided. Elon Musk's social media platform X has sued a group of advertisers alleging that a massive advertiser boycott deprived the company of billions of dollars in revenue and violated antitrust laws. The company, formerly known as Twitter, filed a lawsuit Tuesday in federal court in Texas against the World Federation of Advertisers and member companies Unilever, Mars, CVS Health, and Orsted.
A tough day for the Cardinals. They lose to the Mets 6-0 yesterday. Andre Palante makes the start, goes 4 2/3 innings, allowing 5 runs on 5 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. The Cardinals go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position and leave 7 on base. That was just a one-game makeup against the Mets, and now the Cardinals are back at this evening as they open up a series against the Tampa Bay Rays. Sonny Gray will make the start tonight, 6:45 first pitch. Our coverage begins at 5:50. With the Redbird Report, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Weather sponsored by Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. We're under a heat advisory until 6, a high of 95 today with hot and humid conditions. Temperatures over 100 this afternoon when you talk about real feels. For tonight, partly to mostly cloudy with an overnight low of 68. And then tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sun, cooler and less humid, a high 81. Right now, sunny skies, 93 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
I'm Robert Cornejo. It is an honor to serve as judge for St. Charles County, the community that I am proud to be raising my family in. In my courtroom, I follow the Constitution and the rule of law. I'm not here to legislate from the bench. I'm here to ensure justice is carried out efficiently and fairly. My number one priority as a judge is to make sure this is a safe community for families like mine.
Robert Cornejo served in the Missouri House, where he defended the sanctity of life, prevented illegal immigrants from receiving taxpayer-subsidized tuition, fought against big government, and strengthened our Second Amendment rights. Judge Robert Cornejo is endorsed by the St. Louis County Police Association and Eastern Missouri Coalition of Police for his work to keep St. Charles County safe. Judge Cornejo also has the support of local firefighters.
When you cast your vote, I hope that you will allow me, Judge Robert Cornejo, to be the next circuit judge for St. Charles County.
Paid for by friends of Robert Cornejo. Allison Onder, Treasurer.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold for Newbold Toyota and Newbold BMW, a family-owned dealership group that has been around for 50 years as a Toyota dealer and 25 years in O'Fallon, Illinois. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
15 years ago, we were adding on to our home. And so I convinced Sean we should update the kitchen.
We did some research and we decided to go with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Their reputation was phenomenal. To design, do the construction and the finish work, what we wanted was what we got from start to finish. So fast forward 15 years, our family's changed. We've gotten bigger.
There just wasn't the space in the kitchen anymore. People were banging into each other.
We decided 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. Here's the problem. What are our solutions? Comparing working with 3-Day Kitchen and Bath 15 years ago, today, their ability to design what you want was the same.
Everything has been what I want.
The quality of 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, I think, is phenomenal. The countertops and the cabinets that they use are great. They were just good guys doing good work.
For more about your new kitchen or bath, visit 3daykitchen.com.
3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
We have over $34 trillion in national debt. Where do you think the money to pay for that is going to come from? Taxes. Believe it or not, taxes are at historic lows right now, but how much longer will that last? A Roth IRA conversion might be a good option when planning for your retirement because you can pay lower taxes now and avoid potentially higher taxes later. The FIRA Capital Management Team, formerly Heisey Advisory Group, have seen taxes rise and fall. They know what options you have to potentially reduce the amount of taxes you pay in retirement. Call the team at FIRA Capital Management and schedule your tax analysis today. 314-328-4400. Uncle Sam needs money. Don't let him take it all from you. 314-328-4400. Investing involves risk. Always consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding a Roth conversion, as there may be additional tax considerations. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Hi, this is Paul Goldschmidt, and it's game day.
It's the Cards and Rays tonight. Ameren Total Access 550. First pitch 6:45.
Let's play ball.
On your voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
Chris Ranji, Amy Mark scores with you on a Tuesday shortly after Kamala Harris has selected her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. We want to hear from you about that pick. You can text us or call us at 314-436-7900. Put it in your phone. Save it. 314-436-7900. We want to hear from you about Tim Walz, Governor of Minnesota, being Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick. Okay, quick update. Do you remember the astronauts that went to the International Space Station?
The Starliner.
On the Starliner.
Yeah.
Yep, there were a couple of astronauts, and
I'm so happy they're back.
it was the Boeing
Back
Starliner.
home on Earth.
That's the thing.
What?
They're not back yet.
Oh, still?
Yeah, it's been 2 months.
Oh, God.
So just as a heads up, they're not back yet. We'll be monitoring the situation.
Do you think they're up there like, come on, like looking through the window? Like, somebody come help us.
One time we were in Colorado with my whole family, and we were supposed to fly out on Saturday morning, I believe it was. Sunday was Easter. We're going to fly out on Saturday morning, and there was a massive snowstorm, like massive. And my dad asked the guy at the hotel, hey, how early do we need to leave to drive from, we were in Beaver Creek, Colorado, to Denver to catch our flight during the snowstorm? And he said, oh, you're not going to get there. They closed the highways. They have gates, right, on Highway 70. And we were stuck there because it's hard to get 6 people anywhere. We were stuck there until Tuesday. That's probably what these astronauts feel like right now.
Okay, yeah, that's the exact same. Exact same as being in space.
For 2 months. We were stuck in Beaver Creek for 3 extra days.
Yeah.
It was fun, though. But can you imagine being stuck anywhere for 2 months?
Yeah, I'm sure they're having a great time up there.
I bet they miss gravity. I can tell you that.
I'm sure they miss gravity. Told you we welcome your text messages at 314-436-7900. This message from a 314 says, Walz comes with much broader Rust Belt appeal that will help in Pennsylvania. Shapiro would have been a win, Pennsylvania only pick. Not to mention Walz is fairly charismatic and relatable. I also think, and this is me speaking, and that's from Big Blonde Dan who texted in. I also think that Shapiro happens to be, I wouldn't say he's charismatic, but he's very good at articulating. He's good at speaking to people. Walz is a little bit different. He's more of an everyday guy kind of person.
No, I would argue Shapiro could be, he's even more of a top of the ticket type guy. Do you know what I mean? Where you usually have like a Donald Trump and a Mike Pence, and Mike Pence is definitely number 2, right? You have that vibe.
Oh, I can see him as a number 1.
Shapiro's more of a number 1. I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but yes, Walz is charismatic and relatable, but he almost fits really well as number 2 versus a Josh Shapiro kind of maybe he has the political ambition, maybe it's just the way he carries himself, but he has a number 1 vibe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. Another texter from a 618, I was surprised by Kamala's VP pick. I like that he has some military experience as well as teaching/coaching. I hope he appeals to many Republicans and independents who do not support Trump. Also, his stance on guns is surprising yet reasonable. That is another message.
There you go.
And somebody here earlier says Hancock needs to check the tape.
I know. Was it Georgianne, his wife?
It probably was. So Georgianne texted you.
Well, she did text it. She did text me.
Yeah.
And we all know Georgianne is a saint.
Yes.
And I love John Hancock. He's amazing. But she said Hancock should not have said mark the tape, and then was laughing, and we were laughing. And did we mark the tape?
Let's mark the tape. It will be Shapiro. Done. It's over.
All right. Well.
Oh, John. Well,
honestly,
in his defense, I think we all kind of assumed that's what it was going to be.
Yes. I 100% did, except for there were, you know how you have that feeling that because it's such an obvious choice, it's not going to happen. That's why I'm confused. I don't know how I felt when I heard, and I heard it on the radio,
yes,
TIAM, that Kamala Harris had chosen Governor Tim Walz. I literally cannot tell if my first reaction was, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, or, oh, I knew it. I can't tell.
Yeah,
no, I don't know.
I mean, the way I felt about it, and this is what I said earlier, I was mildly surprised. I would not have been surprised by any of the picks. I think my assumption was that it was probably Shapiro first, Kelly second out of Arizona, and then Walz third. But I thought all of them would have been fine picks for her, right?
I had Tim Walz as a far third, though, because Minnesota, at least this election, is not really considered a swing state. It's just not. Pennsylvania is. The road to the White House 100% goes through Pennsylvania. As Michael Kelly, John Hancock, everybody has said, you have to win Pennsylvania if you want to get to the White House. So it's a little bit of a surprise in that sense, because Minnesota is not considered to be a swing state.
As a texter, this is a texter from a 618. As a former Republican, now independent, I love this pick. Normal needs to be the new normal. Okay. I will agree with this. Whatever happens here, I just want a normal, boring presidency. Whatever happens, that's what I want.
Well, I know. And a lot of people won't like this if you have certain political platforms you want to hit, certain agendas. However, my goal is gridlock, which I know sounds terrible, but like if we have a Democratic president, I want a House that's Republican, Senate that's Republican. I would love that. I would love any type of gridlock just to slow things down so people can calm down and maybe the fringes will fall off the edge.
Or maybe we could do stuff that helps people instead of gridlock.
That's too much to ask.
I don't like gridlock. Gridlock is bad. Bob is in Kirkwood with us on KMOX. Good afternoon, Bob.
Hi. I was just going to point out that I got something I want to say to Amy too. The lines in Kirkwood were not long at all. Good thing was you were able to go inside. But at my age, with a couple of items on the ballot, I had to take my magnifying glass in with me to be able to read them. But anyway, Amy, you're going to remember this because you were there with Charlie. I said to Charlie, and I'm in the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. I said, we got to get Amy in the Hall of Fame for her running. And I think he talked to you about that. And you said, no, I haven't done enough. And so I didn't pursue that and go ahead to try to get you in the Hall of Fame.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Bob. Yes, no, I haven't done enough. I haven't. There are much more decorated runners, but thank you very much. Super kind. And I will say he did bring up an important point for people voting because it is so hot.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get inside into your polling station and wait in line inside, that's probably a better thing.
Yeah. I know it's difficult to do that because some places are just very small. There's only room for the voting booths and that's it. So today is difficult for people who want to stand through it. And this texter says the statement that voting in the primary is important so you have better candidates in the general election does not make sense. Neither party has anyone running that is worth voting for because no good leaders are worth putting up with what it takes to run for office anymore. I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
there are a lot of good people who run for office. And if you're never going to have a perfect candidate for just about anything. So you got to put that out of your mind and do not let perfect be the enemy of good. And I think that's what people do to their detriment is they go, well, this person's like 70% of what I want, but the other 30 is not there. You're never going to have anybody who's 100% of anything you want.
I will say to the caller's point, I do think the vile, toxic, divided political environment that we have is becoming more and more unattractive to good candidates. I think it is driving away good candidates who otherwise might consider politics, but it doesn't mean that there are not still some good candidates who forge their way through the mess anyway.
Yeah, but here's what I think the problem is, or part of it. And some of it is gerrymandering, and some of it is districts that are just...
What's Jerry doing?
Geez, mandering around. Some of it is just being in a district that you don't think that you have any chance of winning. There's that, but the main problem I think is that you've got the fringiest of people are the ones who end up voting in the primaries, and it's not the middle of the road folks. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the independents. They don't do it. They don't go until they find out who the final candidates are going to be.
It's not big and sexy, and there are so many low information voters, which is not to say low educated, low intellect. Low information means people, one guy said it means happy people. People who have a life, who are busy, who have families, who have soccer practice, who have things that they go to. They're not glued to the news cycle. And so when they go and vote, first of all, either they don't vote in primaries.
Right.
They only vote in the big presidential election, or when they do vote, they're like, oh, that name looks familiar. I don't know. And that can really also mess things up.
People are not paying attention during primary season. Not really.
Yeah.
Again, the ones who are doing it are the diehards and the fringiest of voters. Those are the ones paying attention to everything that goes on every step of the way and then vote in primaries, making the decision for everybody else, making the decisions for the moderates. So participate.
That's right. All right. And if you are going to participate, and if you are struggling to see the text on the amendments, which there are a couple out there that we're looking at, you might need, get your eyes checked. You might need to see the doctors at Ophthalmology Associates, Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Berry. I think it's time for my appointment anyway. I think it's been a while that I haven't seen the doctors because I've been playing tennis with Mason jar. And here's what I've noticed. I like the depth perception, like I'm kind of squinting and I can't tell if do I need to adjust my prescription, or maybe I just have like dry eye. So, when you're wearing contacts and your eyes are dry and they get they feel kind of scratchy, that can affect your vision as well. So I've got a bunch of questions that I want to ask Dr. Birdie, and I need to make my appointment. Here's what I'm going to do. Call 314-966-5000, 314-966-5000, or you can go online at youridoc.com.
What do Donna Vogt, Janet Williams, Susan Honor, and Jonathan Hurst have in common? They're just some of the best fans in baseball and winners of a pair of tickets to an upcoming game and $100 to Rawlings. Want to get in on the winning? To get entered, head to KMOX.com/contest and upload a photo of you decked out in your game day attire. The best fans in baseball, presented by KMOX and Rawlings, the mark of a pro.
When you haven't found love, it can feel like everyone else has. It's in every movie, every song, and all the PDA. Looking for love sucks. Thankfully, California Psychics can give you the guidance you need to find the one. We guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go. So I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partnered with Beacon. With their unique Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Now through September 15th, purchase GAF through Beacon Pro Plus and earn up to $1,500. Go to BECN.com or download the Beacon Pro Plus app today. Beacon, always building.
Upgrade your family vacation with an unforgettable escape to the Palm Beaches. From outdoor adventures and laid-back beaches to thrilling family attractions and animal encounters, the Palm Beaches have something for everyone. Discover premier resorts with creative kids clubs that will keep the little ones entertained while you enjoy world-class golf and spas. We are the original, the one, the only, the Palm Beaches. Plan your trip at thepalmbeaches.com.
Hi, this is Kevin Wheeler, and I want to tell you about the 213 Flashpoint Complex, which is available at one of my favorite places, Supplement Superstores. Now, this is a metabolism drink. You have one in the morning, one in the evening. It helps you optimize fat loss around the clock. Yeah, even while you're sleeping. So it'll fight and eliminate cravings. It gives you all-day focused energy with no crash. At night, it lowers cortisol levels. That'll aid in recovery and helps you get that restful night's sleep as well. 213 Flashpoint is available at Supplement Superstores. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a truck accident, you need the best. Onder Law. Let us make your case our cause. Truck accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9-million.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to the practice. He joins Doctors Birdie, Malhotra, Brasati, and Royer as the Doctors' Doctors. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
I'm Megan Lynch. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Amy, the Brett Bloom blood drive is coming up. It is August 22nd, thanks to the American Red Cross, and we do want people to donate blood on that. I mean, you could do it at any time, but the blood drive for KMOX is a very big deal. I can't recall if you were here when he was. I don't remember how long you've been here.
I was part-time. I was working for the Blues, so
Okay.
I did meet him several times. I wasn't doing an everyday show, but I was working for the Blues at the time when they were on KMOX. So, yeah, I mean, just a beloved part of the KMOX newsroom. And on the blood drive day, locations, right, everywhere across
all
the
over the
metro
place.
area. And the KMOX personalities and reporters will be out and about as well. A really special day.
So you can donate at any of the locations, redcrossblood.org. Use the sponsor code KMOX if you want to donate as well. So that's something that we want everybody to do. Amy, there was a text message about what we were discussing, and it says, amen, Amy. So many good Republicans are not running. They cannot speak out to the crazy, and they don't want to be associated with the crazy.
Yeah.
I think that, I don't know, I wonder if, again, more people voted in primaries, if you'd be less likely to get primaried out as a moderate Republican, like what happened with Liz Cheney. And
Adam Kinzinger.
did Kinzinger get voted out, or did he just step down? I can't recall. I can't recall.
Oh.
Whatever. But I think at minimum, he knew it was about to happen, and he either
Yeah.
got out or he was voted out.
I mean, think of like the Republican National Convention. George W. Bush wasn't there. Mitt Romney wasn't there. Mike Pence wasn't there.
Right.
The party has changed.
Right. It is.
It's
And so I do think that if more moderate people were to participate instead of the fringiest of people, then you would get more moderate candidates on both ends.
All right. We've talked all day. Kamala Harris has chosen Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Here is someone tweeted this. It looks like Mike Bouvet. I guess that's how you say it.
Ooh.
These were headlines. CNN, Harris chooses Walz. Fox News, Walz selected as Harris running mate. New York Times, Walz chosen over Shapiro. NBC Boston, Kamala Harris selects Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, the home of the Timberwolves, who traded Kevin Garnett to the Celtics in 2007 ahead of the 2008 NBA title win. That's not real, but it's funny.
It's funny that you read that to me, and there was this part of me that thought I could see it.
Yeah, is this real?
I could see them actually writing that out.
Tim Walz of Minnesota, the home of the Timberwolves.
That's really great.
Pretty funny. I love it. Boston
would think like that.
They would. I will say, I kind of like Boston. Not like the Red Sox, but I like the city.
The city? I like it too.
It's very cool.
I've been there a couple of times, and I really enjoyed it. It's a very walkable city, and there's a lot to see.
Well, I mean, it's not only walkable, but it has the element of a big city, but it's not Chicago and New York City. It's also got all of the colonial history. And like, oh, here's where
Paul Revere's buried there.
Yeah, we went to Paul Revere's house.
Yeah.
We walked through the house. One if by land or two if by land, one if by sea.
It doesn't matter.
I don't remember, but we were in that house, that room.
Yeah.
The cobblestone streets. I mean, you talk about the history. I love it. Fun to tour Harvard, MIT, which is powered by like a nuclear power station, which is very cool. Right there in the city. Anyway,
I went to the park, the Goodwill Hunting park, where Robin Williams gives Will Hunting the speech. You know.
And how'd you feel?
Well, I sat on that park bench.
Yeah.
And I just called everybody Chief.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody walking by, I said, Chief. Hey, Chief. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked
pretty
it.
Original. No.
They want to build a bronze statue of Robin Williams and put it on that bench so that people could sit next to him.
I miss Robin Williams. That is so sad.
Hey, the Missouri Broadcasters Association and the St. Louis Cardinals are presenting a sportscasters forum. This is coming up very, very soon. The deadline to register for it is September 3rd, and it's going to happen at Live by Lowe's. And this is if you're September 19th, so it is coming up here. You have to go to MissouriBroadcasters.org in order to get in on it, because there are going to be some great broadcasters. John Rooney and Ricky Horton from our broadcast team, Chip and Brad and Benji, all going to be there. It's $75, and you're going to hear about play-by-play, reporting, interviewing, dealing with athletes, and all of that stuff. So again, tickets for the forum to get a game. So it's a game ticket you get a lunch, and then you get to be a part of this. So it's not just the forum, it's all of those things. So MissouriBroadcasters.org. Sign up. All right, anything you missed on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. We are going to be back with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning.
With election results.
Results.
Go vote. Have
Go
fun
vote,
voting.
baby. Polls are open till 7. That's Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. Dave Glover is next.
You know the City Justice Center, a.k.a. the downtown jail?
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in there.
Yeah, I figured you would. Conjugal visits?
No, what the?
Have you ever had a wedding reception in your yard or scheduled a party